What's up, chat? Welcome back to the stream. It's Monday. We're indulging in a little bit of a mayhem, and it's pretty wild mayhem this time because it is going to be the World Championship of Warhammer. That's going down next week, and we get to talk about all the insane, or actually later this week. I don't know what I'm talking about next week. It's starting on like Wednesday, right? Or Friday, I guess. Like it's the 6th that starts, the coverage starts. Pretty exciting. I'm psyched. I think it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy result. I'm excited to see who takes it down, who becomes our world champion of Warhammer. I just knocked my microphone there. In preparation, I've spent a lot of time this morning, and I went through every single list for the World Championships to pick out the best ones. So I have a couple categories to look through, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be looking through crazy lists. We're going to be looking through transformative lists. We're going to be looking through a couple of different changes we can expect to the metagame. Before I get into it, though, I have to mention we have a sponsor for this live stream. We're going to be talking about them for a little while moving forward. Captain Con, who you might be familiar with if you're familiar with the channel, has sponsored this one. They are a holistic gaming convention going down the first weekend of February 2026. So coming in next year. So it's going to be the last day of January. I think January 30 through February 2nd is going to be the time frame. And they're one of my favorite conventions of all time because if we look at this, so they have a gallery on their website. And this is probably from like 5-6 years ago. Who's this? Who's this handsome gentleman right here? Look at these green Tyranids. Can I get a close up? Can we enhance? Zoom. Enhance. Zoom. Look at those beautiful, gorgeous Tyranids. I've been attending this convention for like 10 years. It's one of my favorite ones. They have tournaments for a whole bunch of different stuff, including Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40K. They have those events are all being run by Away Games now. So if you are familiar with Away Games, I've streamed a ton of their events. We have a close relationship with them. You can expect what the level of event quality to expect. And if you use coupon code, I'm going to double check the coupon code right here. If you use, I believe it's coupon code TT2026. I'm going to double check, though. I should have written it down. In fact, I did. And then I think I closed my tab. I am a fraud here, chat. You can get 10% off your badges. Coupon code TT2026. Yeah, that's the one, which I should put in the video description. You can get 10% off your badge. So that's exciting and cool. Go check them out. First week of February. It's going to be a huge event. There are tournaments and sort of casual play for a million different games, but also 40K, Age of Sigmar, all the ones that we love here. We love all of them, really, honestly. The other cool thing that they do, I want to mention, is that as you play events and you play games, they have a thing called the Captain's Log, and you get points. It's like a Chuck E. Cheese, and then you can redeem them over the weekend for prizes. So you can get like miniatures and free games and stuff, like by playing games and by like visiting different events and stuff. It's super sick. I don't know. It's a great time. One of my favorite conventions of all time, and they sponsored the video. So that's the Discourse chat. Links in the description. CaptainCon.com is the website, and there's also a QR code on screen. So, but with that, I think we'll dive into some discussion about some WCW lists. Let's hop in. So what I've done is I've gone through, I have notes on probably 30 or 40 lists here. There's like 300 people in World Championships Warhammer. I actually should pull up the BCP. Oh, I have it. I am prepared for this part. It is how many golden tickets we gave out this year? Oh, it doesn't say. God damn it. I guess there could be drops, I suppose. It's 410 according to BCP here. 410 lists. I've gone through all of them. I have about 30 I pulled aside. So I have 3 categories of lists, and we may talk about some of them, we may not, depending on exactly how much time we have. I have lists that are like kind of 1 degree off meta, which I want to talk about because I think it's really interesting. Obviously, World Championships of Warhammer represents the most talented collection of players in Warhammer 40K. All these people who we see here on screen have won GT or larger events, or at least placed highly in them, in order to qualify to come to this event. All of these people are good. We get to talk about some things, some lists to watch out for that might be the future of the metagame. These are lists that are sort of not quite meta, but close to meta, and I want to dive through those quickly because I think it's legitimately useful content. Then I have lists that are kind of weird. They're like a little bit off. They have some funny units in them. They're a little personalized. I like them. Then We have truly insane lists dreamt in the nightmares of a madman. And those are the ones I'm very excited to talk about. So what we're going to do first is we're going to talk about the meta list, and then we'll talk about the insane list. And then from there, we'll talk about some of the off-meta ones if we want to for a second. So that is my plan today. Now, not all of the lists that I've taken aside here are necessarily like exactly the same, but I'm largely talking about new or returning archetypes that people have decided to play in their in this crazy metagame. Any cool stuff in the new Iron Hands detachment? No, not at all. I don't think literally anyone submitted it. There are cool Space Marine lists though, and here's a funny thing. I think I'm gonna soapbox for a moment here, and I'm gonna move on. I've talked in the past about how I miss our like sub-faction customization Warhammer 40K, and people always get on my back. I'm always like, I think custom sub-factions and all that bullshit was really cool and fun. And people were like, well, it wouldn't change the representation at the top of the meta because you'll still like just get the same lists that are strong. And you're like, yeah, but that's going to happen regardless. What it would do if we had more interesting sub-factions available to the game is expand the sort of like middle part of the metagame where people get to sort of let their freak flag fly, I think. And one thing that Space Marines are doing right now is because there are so many sub-factions, all of them are, which are all viable and all have unique units, Space Marines are this like creative furnace where there are so many fucking weird lists coming out of that community. It's insane. They're like, what if we like added a dab of fucking Anvil Siege Force and some fucking Eighth and Sean in there? I don't know. Is that good? Let's find out at the World Championships. That's a real list, by the way. What if we spammed Invictor tactical warsuits? Is that good? I don't know. Let's see. That's crazy. And the fact that the faction is the only one with a functional sub-faction mechanic means that they get to do all this cool shit. And I think that it would be cool if other factions got to do that too. All right. Soapbox gone. I'm going to jump down. And then we're going to talk about Death Guard for a moment here. So this is Daniel Sansone. So another cool thing I want to shout out to as well is the number of people either that I've streamed on this channel, which is great. I get to recognize a lot of these lists, a lot of these play styles, but also the number of people from the Discord server who are on this list is fucking insane. And I can't name all of them off the top of my head, but I want to give a shout out to everybody, from the Discord, from the TacticalTortoise community who come and hang out in these chats all the time, who are at World Championships of Warhammer, because it is a not small number and that's fucking awesome. So congratulations to all those people. Anyway, let's talk about this list. It's Mortarian's Hammer. We've watched this list grow and bloom like some sort of fetid, disgusting fungus until it was finally stepped on by the Nerf hammer. It's slowly back. I would say probably about 30-ish% of the Death Guard lists in the tournament are still running Mortarian's Hammer. And it's all the stuff we know and love. Lord of Virulence, he gives rerolls. We have Chaos Bond to do actions. We have Death Shot Terminators because we can point, hey, you get Contagion, then drop the Death Shot Terminators and kill them without having to do any setup. What a time. We have Blight Launcher guys. We have Blight Haulers to shoot people. We play Cross to shoot people. This list is boring as fuck, but it is back. It seems like we have moved a little away from everything being Virulent Victorium to, and maybe Champions of Contagion, to playing this cool list that is, I don't know, it's kind of a cancer, honestly, but that's okay. Let's move on and talk about something more interesting. Let's talk about Drukhari, chat. Because this is one of the first times we are seeing the actual Drukhari metagame form. Drukhari have been a codex for a little while, but obviously, like, they're really hard to play, and their codex is kind of like a little bit of a miss, I think. So it's been interesting watching it develop, and I think we are at what is probably the gonna be the most popular list. Shocker, it's Reaper's Wager, which I don't think should surprise anyone because it turns out RB Ride rerolls to hit is a really good detachment ability. That's all there is to it, I think. We're running Drazar. I don't know if he has Incubi. I guess he does. So we have Lance on an Incubi unit. We have Lady Malice, who actually is sick, by the way. I had the opportunity to play against her the other day in an RTT, and I was incredibly impressed by this character. So the big thing is that she is she's the old Archon reborn, essentially, in a new body. So she's a command point tax. She gives you redeployments, which is not the best thing ever, but it is solid, especially with how voluminous like Drukhari armies are. They tend to be really big. They tend to have a lot of individual units. They're like running around, and their transports tend to be huge. And then when she empowers, she gains either sustained or lethal, which is great. And then she personally attacks 12 times. So she has 12 attacks with lethal hits potentially, which means she actually starts to plink damage into big stuff, which is pretty spooky. We have a Witch unit, double Venom, double Chronos for pain token regeneration. This is a big thing, by the way, because almost every ability requires pain tokens now. It's not just attacks. If you fall short on your pain token economy early, the game is a fucking disaster. It falls apart. If you don't have the pain tokens to like empower Lady Malice, pick up your mandrakes, get rerolls on your scourges, like all that stuff all at once, the army like actually falls apart. So Chronos, I think, are even more important than they used to be. Previously, it seemed like you could get by with your start of game pain tokens, and you kill some utility stuff and hope for the best. But now that basically everything you do requires pain tokens, the army gets legitimately very hard to play if you don't have pain tokens. We have 10 Hellions, which I think are the huge standout from the codex, and I think everyone sort of saw this coming as soon as they saw the datasheet. So Hellions are move 14 jump pack infantry. They're the hoverboard guys. They have a sustained hits 1 lance weapon, and they can empower themselves to get +1 to attacks and strength. So they swing 4 times its strength 5 lance, AP 1/2 damage, sustained hits. For 17 points per model, that's wild. Imagine if your jump pack assault intercessors were the same cost, but did like actually 3 times as much damage as they do. They like basically permanently have Osa moment, like locked in all the time. They also get like a not irrelevant gun. They have an assault anti-infantry 2-shot weapon that's twin linked as well. So these guys are crazy good. They do fall apart into sort of high toughness or damage reduction or high save characteristic or damage reduction stuff, but they have so many attacks, right? They're coming in with like 40 plus attacks. All of them have lands. The chances that they hand you like 10 plus AP 1/2 damage saves against basically anything in the game is very high, as long as they have that pain token to empower themselves. Incubi for late game counterpunch as well. Also, they with the real ones to hit, obviously, from Reaper's Wager, they go kind of crazy too. And then real ones to wound as well. So you can like go into infantry, and if you're losing the wager, although I don't know if we have Harlequins, we do have a Solitaire, so we could potentially be losing the wager. We'll see. These guys could be like basically almost full hit and wound rerolls. They just don't reroll their 2s, I think, to hit. I think that's the only thing that they miss. But then if they're winning on 2s, they reroll. Once they hit, get sustains, winning on 2s into T4 or less, rerolling 1s. The potential damage in this unit is crazy. They're just really good. Mandrakes for the up-down. We love to see it. Only 1 unit probably means that they pick up the Mandrakes and then they hold them, because the Mandrakes are not required to return. They just go into reserve and they have Deep Strike. So you can just keep them there, and then if something cool happens, you can drop them down, or you can ingress them. And Mandrakes with a lone operative effect, being able to ingress onto objectives and stuff is actually really sick. These guys are another big standout from the Codex, I think. Reavers are great as well, just a good solid heat lance delivery system. And then a bunch of Scourges with weapons to shoot people and kill them with guns. I don't know. These guys, they reroll their hits and then they run away. It's the Scourge thing. Plus Talos and a Solitaire, so potentially we could early game flip the wager to Harlequins winning it if the Solitaire like kills a utility in it, and then you can give your second thing roll 1 to wound, which would be cool. Plus he's a lone operative, which is always great. So pretty good. Yeah, and then the other thing too is like we're talking about high armor save characteristic stuff being the answer to Hellions. If that is contingent on Armor of Contempt, Malice is here. She's here for you, baby. So she can hop out. I don't know if she can. I actually don't know her leadership. She can join Incubi for sure. Yeah, she can join Incubi, Hand of the Archon, and Cavalry Warriors. So the Incubi can also get her whatever her empowerment effect is. So they can also get the lethal hits and stuff. She improves them slightly, but also if you if you get both of those units committed at the same time, she can tax your AOC and she can stop you from interrupting if you don't have a million CP. So you just get this like big alpha strike on somebody with two big, not necessarily big. The Incubi are only 5 models, but relatively hard-hitting units. So that's cool to see, chat. Christopher
H donated $2 through Super Chat. Molly is here for us, baby.
She is here for us, baby. Step on my neck, Lady Malice. Please do that, but not with your weird skinny neck. With my neck's bigger than that, so it'll be fine. So yeah, that's I think what to expect. Something similar to that from Drukhari moving forward. There are a couple other Drukhari archetypes that have been seeing some play. We might talk about those as well. But moving forward, if you were to see Drukhari on a roster, I would expect to see a Reaper's Wager with some combination of those units. I do think it's cool that Lady Malice is one of the big sort of the takeaways from this particular sort of release. I think it's nice. It's cool that the big cool new character is actually sweet. Tau. Let's talk about Tau for a sec. Auxiliary Cadre is seeing a lot of play now. They're still like basically split down the middle of Montcalm Callion, but then there's just like little Cadre people being like, I'm going to play Auxiliary Cadre. And we actually watched Auxiliary Cadre on a T5S2 finals recently, which did great. This attachment is unironically sick. So here's what it does. You get +1 AP when to your Tau units attack things that are near Crute or Vespid units. You also get a bunch of, and then the Crute and Vespid units can get a weird lone operative effect if you have Tau units nearby them. However, you also have an insane collection of stratagems.
Bucket of Steel Cable donated $6 Canadian and 99 cents through Super Chat. A strength 26 AP 4 damage 30 Holmagorn thing yet.
Bucket of Steel Cable, they are not. I'm sorry to say. I'm so sorry. Tyranids are just playing Tyranid stuff right now. They're not playing Tyranid stuff from the future, where Tyranids are actually good, and their Hormagons are strength 26, 30 damage. So GW needs to fix that ASAP so that the game can be healed. Adeptus Mechanicus, I actually didn't notice very many exciting things, so I actually don't think I have any Adeptus Mechanicus locked in right now. Because it's mostly basically like an even split between various forms of Skitaria Hunter cohort running at you, or of just Halo Screed Battleclade that kills you with a gun. So that's mostly what the people are playing right now, which I think is pretty fair. So the other thing, so what we're talking about here is you get a insane selection of stratagems. Obviously, we have Commander Shadows on here to empower those by regenerating your command points. When you use them on things nearby her. You can do things like interlocking maneuvers to get a normal move of 6 inches at the end of the fight phase if you fought with a unit. It's anything. They can do that. The only downside is that you can't re-embark a transport in the same turn. However, you can... if your speed character is greater than 6, normally it's a 6-inch move, and you're engaged in melee, you can make a fallback move at your full speed. So you can do things like engage something with like a battlesuit unit and then move their full distance to go take objectives and stuff. It's really strong. There's an auto 6 advanced strat, which is good sort of to get your assault weapons into lines of sight. And Crute units can advance and charge if you do that. There's also a... it's 2 different strats. Sorry. There's an advance and shoot strat. There's an auto 6 advanced strat for Crute, and then there's the advance and shoot strat also lets you charge if you're Crute. So it's big for the Crutox Rampagers. So we have a lot. The army tends to play a lot of Crutox Rampagers to push up the middle of the table because they're very fast with that strat in this attachment. And then they can trigger the +1 AP from all your Tau guns shooting into the backline. So it works as a combined force, a little bit better than like a standard Crute hunting pack would be, where your Crute are better, but you don't have any support for the Tau units whatsoever. In this case, the Tau units are just passively buffed by the fact that you're taking a bunch of Crute. Speaking of Tau units, we have, in this case, it's a Riptide Battlesuit, a couple Skyray gunships, a couple Stealth Battlesuit teams, Vespid Stingwings. Kind of normal stuff. The big thing, though, is that you have these early game scouting. It's not necessarily 15 Crutox Rampagers, but I see most of the list running 12, because at least you can advance and charge with these guys, so your Alpha Strike's pretty good. You can scout up the table, move 7, advance, just get on in there, turn 1, and really like try to jail your opponent. You also get that from Ghost Kills. And the Ghost Kills can give the Crute and the Vespid Lone Operative. They have Lone Operative themselves, so they can just vibe on an objective, and you can't take the objective. Pretty cool. Pretty neat stuff, gents. And I think that there is there's a sort of discourse about that variety of Tau being one of the better ones. More recently, let's talk about some Genestealers as we're on a Xenos trend here. While a lot of people are still playing Host of Ascension, and there are a couple of Outlander claws I saw. One Deliverance Brute Surge. It's called Deliverance Brute Surge. Is like fucking dating me right now. One Brood Surge. What is it? Biosanctity Brood Surge. Excuse me. There are a lot of people transitioning now that the Primus has been nerfed into the fucking floor, so you cannot Primus primed and ready combo to get 5-up critical hits, sustained lethal, just a million things to kill people with like seismic cannons. In this case, people are moving to Final Day. So there are a lot of players playing this sort of style of Genestealer cults. This one is basically the same thing that we just talked about for Auxiliary Conjurer, but it's for Tyranids and GSC. You can take a number of Vanguard Invader Tyranids in your army. The Vanguard Invaders gives Genestealer cults +1 to hit against stuff near the Tyranids. So the Tyranids basically spotter for them as they run in. All your GSC gets +1. And that's passive. It doesn't require anything. It doesn't require a line of sight. You just get +1 to hit, which is sick. And in addition, your Synapse units can feed Genestealer cults to your Tyranids to regenerate them. So your Tyranid models can hold objectives a little bit better. That's less useful, I think, generally speaking, but it is good. But the big thing is that you can buff your guns by using Tyranids, and you get crazy Tyranid scoring pieces. Obviously, Tyranids are always like kind of mediocre in terms of their actual output, but no one can argue that Tyranid utility is the best in the game, basically hands down. Like, Tyranids just fucking score points. They love establishing locuses. Their favorite thing is to go into your opponent's deployment zone and be like, our locus behind enemy lines, get 1,000,000 points, pass it back to you. What do? And you're like, this sucks. You're a lictor and I can't attack you. So we have an Abominant Benefactors with Inhuman Integration, which also gives you sustained hits 1 if you're targeting something that's spotted by Tyranids. So you basically get +2 to hit instead of +1, which is sick. Locust, Reductive Saboteur. We have some Auto Pistol Acolyte hybrids, some Neophyte hybrids for OBSEC, or a big 20-man to shoot people. And +1 to hit on those guys, obviously, pretty nice. Don't know if we have a... I guess you could put the Benefactus in, right, for lethal. So you get lethal sustain with +1 to hit. No rerolls, I don't think. Unless I am mistaken. But we can get a +1 to wound effect from Avenge the Star Children. If you kill a Tyranid unit, or if you kill a Tyranid character, your GSC gets +1 to hit and wound against you. So it's 1,000,000 attacks with lethal sustain. That's pretty cool. Aberrants to go with the Abominants. Achilles Ridge Runners are kind of the the big headliner. Obviously, they love getting +1 to hit. They have a spotter for ballistic skill 3, and then the +1 to hit gives them hitting on 2s. And then you have the mortar guy. So the mortar guy can mortar over, hit the target of the mining lasers. The mining laser guys rock up, shoot that target and kill it, and then dump their stubbers into something else. And you chain your crossfire +1 AP effect down the line. So one mortar shoots the one guy, the lasers shoot that guy, benefit from the crossfire, the +1 AP, and then shoot their stubber someone else, apply crossfire to that. So you shoot the second unit of bridge runners, do the same thing, put the stubber somewhere else. And all of that gets to be hitting on 2s, which is amazing. Goliath Rockgrinder for largely the same reason. 2 units of high-hybrid metamorphs to get delivered by the transport, and then a Pure Strain Genestealer unit to clear out the midboard. Speaking of midboard clearing, holy shit. There's a Death Leaper Gargoyles ×2 Hyper-Adapted Raveners, so that's a good way to trigger Avenge the Star Children. You just rock those guys into something. They basically die instantaneously, because Hyper-Adapted Raveners have the vapor pressure of, like, I don't know, nitrogen or something. They just immediately turn into gas as soon as they hit anything. Plus a bunch of scoring units. I don't know if the Raveners are going with the Hyper Adapted, so they get the sustained hits and they just get to be a big brick, or they're just also using Raveners as an up-down, a natural up-down. I generally speaking, I think the Raveners plus the Hyper Adapt is like kind of overkill. It ends up being 300 points for this big thing that's gonna overkill whatever it hits. But I don't know. And then Gargoyles are phenomenal scoring. Obviously, they can deep strike, shoot, and then scoot in to steal objectives from people, even if you're screening. You have to basically assume that they're like a 3-inch deep striker because they can be just outside 3 inches away from you. So you have to go into your ancient tomes and unearth the old technology of screening out Inceptors back in the day in order to defeat Gargoyles. And then Death Leaper and Lictor for more forward operation. So pretty cool stuff. We have huge damage coming out of these Achilles Ridge Runners and some of the melee bricks, the melee and ranged bricks, and then just a ton of scoring support and a little bit of melee counterattack from the Raveners. Being able to like just rapid ingress the Hyper Adapt Raveners and then just counterpunch something that comes into your Neophytes, for example, actually could be sweet. So I think it's cool. And I guess you could heal them. I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you do put them together and then you heal them. Great question, chat. Pretty sweet stuff. Nids feel like AdMech, but less durable and do less damage. That's, I think, that's very intelligent. That's exactly what they are. It's basically Tyranids and Adeptus Mechanicus have kind of gone through the same like life cycle almost, where they just have spent the entire time just being like really good at scoring points, but absolutely trash at actually fighting anyone. But except now, obviously, if you just like triple the damage output of Iron Strider Ballistari, eventually you get to the point where your stuff starts doing damage. Tyranids just need to do that. They need to give Exocrines like 3d6 plus 9 shots, and then suddenly Tyranids are much better at killing people. All right, let's talk about Necrons for a sec here. A lot of people have been shifting away from Star Shatter Arsenal. Thank God. It's really boring. Every single Necron list that went undefeated this weekend, by the way, was playing Star Shatter Arsenal. However, that absolute Chad who won with 4 Catan shards is my hero. So there's not even like that much synergy between them. It's just a fucking sick list. Let's. People need to stop trying to shoot with Tyranids. Okay. Which is like, do you like the "that's bait" meme from fucking Fury Road? All right, let's talk about Awakened Dynasty. So there's a couple different varieties of Awakened Dynasty. Whether they focus on warriors or whether they focus on wraiths is the big question. But those are it basically is like. There's obviously Adavol Heimdall, our hero, is playing Obeison's Phalanx, like an absolute Chad. And I think basically every other Necron list is either Star Shatter, or Awakened Dynasty, and it basically splits down the middle. So we have a Chronomancer in this particular case, Illuminor Seraz, the buff. This is a Necron Warrior brick, I think, yeah. So he gives -1 EP into Necron Warriors and +1 EP shooting back. Orican, the Diviner, for a 4+ invulnerable save. Translocation Overlord, so these two guys get put. Oh, actually. You usually play the Royal Warden with Netherrealm in the warrior unit, so they get -1 to be hit. And then the Translocation Overlord ends up on the Immortal Squad, so they can be really fast. And then you can up-down them. If you dual attach it with the Chronomancer, you get to put potentially 20 OC wherever you want for the late game. So this unit can like hop in, kill a utility unit, and then steal their objective with the Chronomancer shoot and scoot. So it's very good late game. An Agic Dermal Bond guy. So we have 2 4+ Feel No Pain characters who are invincible, and double Technomancers. So Immortals for the Overlord, Warriors for the Orc and the Diviner, a Ghost Hark to reanimate the Warriors, double Reanimator to make use of all of the reactive reanimations we have, because we have a reactive one here, plus the Strat in Awakened Dynasty to reactive reanimate as well. 2 units of Canoptic Wraiths to go into the 2 Technomancers, and then a couple Crypto Thralls in a Flayed 1 unit. So this army is like all scoring all the time, 100% scoring. I'm going to score 1,000,000 points. I'm not going to kill you ever, basically, but you won't be able to kill me, and it'll be fine. We'll just grind on each other for a full 3 hours until the clock runs out. So some lists are running Doomsday Arcs in the backline here. They'll either cut the Warrior brick and associated support units, or they'll cut like one or both of the Wraith units to put 2 to 3 Doomsday Arcs in the back line, just to help blast the people as they're trying to kill the front line. But obviously, Not 100% of the lists. Sometimes you just want to score. But yeah, that's Awakened Dynasty Necrons. It's pretty standard stuff. We've seen it before. We're not breaking any new ground here. You want to talk about breaking new ground, chat? Let's talk about breaking new ground, because we do have some really exciting ones. About, I don't know, maybe 30-ish% of the Orc players so first of all, the Orc players are insane this weekend. Like, there are a bunch of people running regular Warhorde, but not as many as I expected. The Warhorde with you're like, oh, I'll play the 20-man with Gaz, and then some Breaker Boys, and some Tank Busters, and like the Commando Squad. It's mostly normal. About, I don't know, 20% of people said, I'm going to play Warhorde with Gaz, but I'm also going to play some fucking insane shit behind him. And then about 30% of people said, nah, I'm just going to play Green Tide. So a bunch of people swapped over to Green Tide from Warhorde. So we get superior Orc boy units, although we don't have the advance in charge, or excuse me, the additional bonus movement guy for Gaz to hang out with. The mech with Here We Go, who gives you reroll on advanced rolls and stuff like that. In this case, however, your boys are harder to kill. You get a 5+ invulnerable save to 20-man boys units. This is kind of the original place where we saw Blood Surge movements get disgusting, because this is the first place that we had Go Get 'em, where after you're attacked, if you lost a guy, you could go towards the thing that attacked you, but not directly towards. It was just fucking, you do whatever you want. And everyone went, wait, Blood Surge boots are actually broken as hell? This is crazy. And they've been nerfed a bunch of times as a result. We also get wound rerolls, which is a big one to get through the lack of hitting power that boys sometimes have, especially outside the WOG turn. And we get additional engagement range, and we can return model state units, get bonuses to charge, and yeah, that's mostly what we do. So it's a good delivery system for Ghazghkull Thraka, because your units are generally more resilient than you were previously. You can regenerate them, and they have invuln save all the time, rather than just on the WOG turn, which is great. So we're taking Boss Snickrot for some utility. Ghazghkull Thraka, the great man himself, plus a Pain Boy with Bloodthirsty Belligerence, which is reroll advance in charge rolls if you're in a 20-man unit. Another Pain Boy, a War Boss with Ferocious Show Off, which gives you additional strength characteristic based on the size of your unit. 2 more War Bosses and a Weird Boy with Brutal but Cunning, which is you get command points with a bonus if you have a big unit you're inside a big unit. Speaking of big units, there are, what is this? 100 boys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 90 boys. So we have attachments for Ghazghkull, 3 war bosses, and Ghazghkull 3 war bosses. There is a Weird Boy, which is probably in one of these. He might be on the smaller unit though, just to take objectives in the late game. We have a Battle Wagon, so we can carry one of the big ones around in. Not the Ghazghkull one, but the other ones. A Boom Deck, a Snaz Wagon. Wait, why? This one gives you a stealth. No, excuse me. It gives enemies -1 to hit. It doesn't give stealth. It gives -1 to hit while they're within 6 inches. So you can run it up, and then you make all the boys harder to kill until it dies. Which is actually cool. The weird part is that the Orc buggies are on huge bases, and it requires that the Boom Deca has proximity to the attacking unit. But if, for example, you're on, let's say, layout 1 in CA 2025, and you have all your boys in your L, right, in the center of the table, staged, or most of your boys, and you have the Boom Deck at the middle of it, any offensive into you is going to hit into a 5+ invulnerable save, a Feel No Pain from the Pain Boy, and -1 to hit from this thing. So it basically stops you from being successfully alpha struck. And then you just get punched by Ghazghkull Thraka. And then they WOG on you and it all goes downhill. That's actually sick technology. That's super cool. Also, no longer the most broken weapon, most broken car in Speed Freaks. By the way, they finally nerfed. Well, they didn't nerf it. It just has no answer to Def Copters, so it dies. It turns out when you're an airplane in the car game, you're really good. Moving on, double Gretchen plus a commando squad. Love it. This list rules. A boomdeck, a snazwagon. The year of our Lord, 2025, chat. We are about to watch a World Championships of Warhammer with an honest-to-God, unironically played boomdeck, a snazwagon. Let's go, dude. So this styles of this variety have taken up about a third of the orc community right now. However, that is not the last time we're going to talk about orcs, because orcs have some fucking nuts lists. I don't know what these orc players are on, because I want some. What they have decided to submit to the WCW is crazy, and we'll talk about that later. For the now, we're going to talk about something very similar. We're going to talk about Khorne Demonkin. Now, I would say probably 80% of the World Eaters players at the event took Berserker Warband, as they probably should. However, there are some weirdos in this event, chat. You don't get to be invited to the World Championships of Warhammer without being kind of a weird guy. And in this case, some people have taken Khorne Demonkin. In this particular one, Khorne Demonkin with Angron. Which is okay. I guess in the situation where half your army doesn't benefit from Blessings of Khorne, it doesn't matter if Angron burns all his sixes for the whole turn to respond, because you don't care that much about it anyway. Who cares? Now, this actually got a little bit of play at Nova Open, if you remember. I can't remember the player who did well, but he made top cut, and I think he made it to, like, top 4 with Khorne Demonkin, because this detachment's actually sick, and especially if you're not ready for it, it will run circles around you. It's pretty crazy. So this is the one where you can take Khorne Demons inside your World Eaters army, and then, honestly, they sort of, it's a little on the coterie of the conceited, like, train, where they basically they absolutely nailed the theme of this detachment. Unfortunately, it is a little mechanically unsound, but that's okay. We can forgive it. Essentially, as you destroy units, you gain blood tithe points, and you can spend those blood tithe points in your command phase to add permanent buffs to all of your demons. The blood tithe abilities you have active will then empower the stratagems you have as well. So these can be things like giving every single demon lance on all their attacks. Okay, that's pretty good. Giving all of them a failed open against psychic attacks, giving all of them a 4+ invulnerable save, which will affect your blood letters, and then giving them Blessings of Khorne. The big thing, though, is that you have Summoned by Slaughter, which is a stratagem for 1 CP. When anything dies, literally anything in the game, you can pay a CP and pull a blood letter unit from reserve onto the battlefield. You also have an up-down strat for your Khorne Demons, so you can put your blood letters in reserve on the early turns of the game. So it has like a bunch of weird scenario play because of that ability. It did get ludicrously heavily nerfed a little while after being released. They changed it from being set up outside engagement range to set up outside 6 inches of enemy units, which is much more restrictive. However, still useful, especially if you lose your own models to shooting. So, for example, if your opponent goes, "Oh, this is my last shooting activation of the turn, I'm going to kill your idiot on that objective," you go, "Summoned by Slaughter, there's a blood letter unit there, and I'm going to hold the objective anyway." And then they're going to charge you. So, be ready for that. Let's go. We are playing Angron, Karn the Betrayer, who does have an interesting interaction with Summoned by Slaughter, because he can trigger both his own respawn ability as well as summoned, I believe, together, and then potentially summon 2 units out of himself. You need the blood letters, obviously, in your list, but you can have him summon a blood letter unit on death and then also hit people, which is neat. We have a Lord on Juggernaut with Disciple of Khorne, which lets him join Blood Crusher units, which is great, so he can give them move through walls and extra speed. We have Scarbrand, although he doesn't give them extra speed, he just keeps their speed the same, but he gives them move through walls, which is cool. Scarbrand, who's phenomenal, absolutely incredible, especially once you have Lance or Blood Blessings of Corn unlocked. If you have either of those, he goes kind of insane because having a strength 16, 6 damage melee attack that gets sustained hits is pretty nuts. And then we have a Slaughterbound with Blade of Endless Bloodshed, which gives you +1 attack and strength and damage. And you automatically gain Blood Tithe each time he kills people, which he will because that puts him to 10 attacks at 3 damage, 4 if he's in an Exalted 8-bound unit. Just on his go turn, obviously, on his fight and shower turn, that's a lot, turns out that's quite a few. We have double Bloodletter units for all of the silly chicanery we can do. A Khorne Berserker squad for Karn to hang out with. Big Blood Crusher unit for the Blood Crusher guy to go with. An 8-bound unit. I guess it's just regular 8-bound we're playing today, not the Exalted ones. We don't need the extra damage, I guess, on the Slaughterbound. 2 Fleshhound units for natural up-downs. Goremongers for the back line, or Goremongers for infiltration. And then Jackals for the back line for utility. So it's kind of the Angron and Scarbrand show, I think, here. You can keep your, I believe, if I remember correctly, Disciple of Khorne gives you Deep Strike. Yeah. So you gain Deep Strike if you join a Blood Legion unit. So you can basically just like stagger out just crazy hammer blows of deep striking units. Like you can rock in Angron or Scarbrand, stage them and then hit something. As they go to kill that, you rapid ingress either the other one of those two or the Blood Crusher unit. You go and hit them again, and then you do it the third time. There's no shooting in this army, which is makes it a little tougher to do like weird offensive summon by slaughters, but that's much more difficult these days than it was on release anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But I would say that, so I think there are a few Khorne Demonkin players in there. It's certainly not even close to the most represented detachment out of World Leaders, but it is a much higher proportion than I expected, especially after how hard that detachment got nerfed once people realized what it could do. Woo! Chat. What a time. It's Angron and bitter Angron, indeed. That is all the meta lists that I wanted to talk about, or quote unquote meta, new meta, which actually took longer than I expected. Even those are pretty spicy. However, we have not yet even tasted true spice. This is like white guy Indian food, and we're about to indulge in Indian food made by a real Indian person. Let's talk about Siege Regiment, chat. Who's excited? My man, Chris Johnson here, has unironically registered a Siege Regiment to the World Championships of Warhammer. What an insane boy. So, what does this attachment do? No one knows. At the start of the battle round, you basically choose a siege or an artillery barrage type, and it affects units 12 inches away from your own. Or generally speaking, you can either fire a creeping barrage, which subtracts 2 inches to the movement characteristic of enemies 12 inches away from your own guys. On a 5+, you roll for each enemy unit, and they get it. So that's really good early game, because you have the potential to slow down anything in their army on like turn 1. And this is all resolved start of the battle round. I guess it doesn't roll for their whole army. I think it rolls for 3 units. So you should slow 1, theoretically. Incendiary Bombardment strips cover from a number of units, so they go up to 3 that are 12 inches away from you. And Smoke Shells gives stealth to a number of units in your own army. Yeah, it's 3 units in Strike Force. Yeah, I just double checked. Mostly, I think the Smoke Shells is like the easiest one to trigger, and Incendiary Bombardment. Occasionally, if you don't have the other ones active, Creeping Barrage can fuck your opponent's game plan, but it's very random. So you don't know if it's going to work or not. Precision munitions we don't have the STC for those yet, so we're not sure if our artillery is going to hit. We have a Acadian Command Squad with Eager Advance, which is 6-inch scout. We have Gaunt's Ghost, so we can do end of turn or end of movement phase orders. A Krieg Command Squad. This is the one that has the Lord Commissar in it, who's like basically just the worst officer of all time. But I believe that the benefit of the Krieg Command Squad is that they give the unit a feel no pain. It's basically the old Marshal back. It is they have the Alchemic Counter Agent that gives you a 6+ feel no pain. They also can be issued orders even while battle shocked, which is cool. Sick. I love that for me. So 2 of those, 2 Rollodorn tank commanders, so we can strip cover from enemies. Start a battle round. If you go first, you actually get a bit of a benefit from this because you can immediately make use of your artillery abilities. If you choose units to be not in cover anymore, and then you go second, then your opponent's like, well, I guess I probably won't I just won't like push those guys if they're just gonna die to Rogodorns. But if you go first, which is obviously worse in general, if you go first, you get to immediately choose something and then shoot it instantaneously, which is great. Sly Marlborough for some utility plus Ursula Creed. So I think we have a little bit of an order battery in the back line here with the Cadian Command Squad plus Ursula, able to issue 3 orders out to Master Vox range, 24 inches. There's the Cadian Shock Trooper Squad to turn that all on, so they can all join the same unit, and then she can grab the Vox speakerphone from the Vox operator and use it for her own orders, because she's just like that. And then 2 units of Death Corps. Now, here's the cool thing that this detachment does. Artillery Regiment has some crazy stratagems for these guys. You get a 2+ fight on death, which is relevant in the instance specifically where you're a Death Corps of Krieger, because otherwise, you suck in melee. However, Death Corps, they have Grim Determination. They get +1 to hit if they're below starting strength, which if you're fighting on death, you automatically get. And they get +1 to wound if they're below half strength, which if you're fighting on death, you're probably going to get because you just got walloped in melee. So you can fight with all these guys on a 2+ with +1 to hit and wound. They can actually clip damage to people with low armor saves. You can also give your units full hit rerolls against something within 12 inches of a character. You can give yourself +1 attack to these guys. It requires platoon units. So when you're talking about a unit that's packing, I think it's 3 Melta, 3 Plasma, right? Because of the command squads. Plasma, I guess it's 3 Plasma, 2 Meltas. But either way, you get +1 attack, and then they can stack with 1st rank, 2nd rank. So for 2 CP, if you're within 12 inches of an enemy, you can full hit reroll everything with potentially +2 attacks on most of your weapons. And if you're benefiting from Grim Determination, because you've already taken a casualty, it's actually kind of crazy. Like, you start to get serious damage out of your special weapons there. That does require half range, to be fair, but that's where you want to be shooting people anyway, because most of your unit has rapid fire. We can also pay 2 CP to issue move to everything in your army. We do have Ursula Creed for the order battery, so I don't know how much we're going to need to do that. There is also a stratagem that can do mortal wounds when people charge you. So we can get some serious work out of these Death Corps of Krieg. And then from there, we have some utility and counterpunch from units of Attila and Rough Riders. And the rest of the list is largely artillery. We do have Death Riders, 2 field ordnance batteries with bombast field guns. That is the Strength 7 AP1 2 damage shot. And again, we can automatically strip cover from enemies with incendiary bombardments. So we can dump cover off of 3 people, and then just lay waste with all of the ordnance. 3 mortar Catachin heavy weapon squads, plus an artillery team with a multiple rocket launcher. Which is, I think, like that's like the anti-infantry one, right? Yeah, it's strength 5, or excuse me, 5+ weapons ballistic skills, strength 2, AP1, 1 damage, anti-infantry, 3+. It's what a profile. D6 +3 blast. That hits on like maybe 4s if you're lucky. What a time to be alive, chat. I don't know what's going on with this list. I think that the big Death Corps units, and sometimes you can play big Cadian units, because you can also give like Castellans, put Castellans in them to give them fallback and shoot and sustained hits. And you can give them hit rerolls and plus attacks, so you can do some serious damage. The Deathguard Krieg actually lasts longer, and they like fight on death a little bit better. I don't know where any damage is coming into this army. I guess it's Rogaldorns. Just kidding. I've answered my own question. We can strip cover at range, and then we can just shoot them with Rogaldorns. And we can kill all of your infantry with 1,000,000 mortar attacks. And then just sit and wait for you to come out. Maybe, is this good? I don't know. 2 Rogaldorns is not a gunline make, but if we could get work with the artillery, maybe it's good. What did it say, list chat? Absolutely fucking wild. Guard meme list. It's someone's anticipating horde meta. They were like, recon element, watch this. I brought 11 artillery pieces. Absolutely insane. I love this list. It doesn't seem that great. Maybe Eldar. Maybe you're worried about Eldar. And you're like, listen, Eldar, you fucking aspect warrior pieces of shit. You know, that's actually probably 100% what happened. Is this guy's like, I'm done with being killed by aspect hosts. Never again. I will strip cover from 3 aspect warrior units, and they will all instantly die to field ordnance batteries. And then you'll charge me, and I'll fight on death on a 2+ and just kill you. I will kill every aspect host player. I will lose every other matchup, but I will kill all the Eldar. It might not be good, but it's definitely guard. So true. Oh, man. This is sick. What a time. The Kriegbot can unload like 20 plasma for meltdown. Yeah. It's, if you're half range and you first rank, second rank, you're firing 4 shots per plasma gun, and you have 3 plasma guns, so 12 plasma shots, right? I guess plus pistols if you're in range. And then you have 2 melta guns and double shots, right? So 4 melta gun shots. And then you can give them hit rerolls. So like these things do actually legitimately do damage for sure. You do have to be close to the target. So you have to like move, send them in, and then drop Gonskos and give them first rank, second rank, and then dump 2 CP into them. You get 1 for free, I guess, from Ursula Creed, because you can probably string your lasgun guys back. So it's actually probably fine. But yeah, just don't get engaged. Once you're engaged in melee, you just live there forever. It's very sad. Love it. Just dodge the non-Eldari, yeah. I for sure this list is gonna get a win because somebody's gonna underestimate it and they're gonna be like, Siege Regiment, and you'll be like, I will strip cover from you, and you're like, ooh, uh-oh. and then double my attacks. Uh-oh. Whoopsies. Let's talk. You want to talk about Astro Militarum for a little bit more here, chat? Let's talk about some auxiliary lists, like Brood Brothers Auxilia. I did not expect to see this detachment see the light of day, but it has returned. So this is the GSE detachment that lets you take up to 50% of non-aircraft Commissar, Epic Hero, Militarum, Templars, Ogre, Rattling, Tech Priest, Edgeseer, or Ministorum Priest, Astro Militarum units, which basically restricts you to like platoon and regiment units, and like squadron, I guess. You can take basic vehicles. You also don't issue orders, which is problematic. Although they have ruled that if you play Khazarkin, the Khazarkin get their own orders. Even if that is technically a little suspect, they have ruled it so the unit works correctly. There are some weird combos you can do. We have a Benefactus with Firepoint Commander, so that gives 5-up Overwatch on his unit. A Reductus Saboteur with Martial Espionage, which gives a unit, an Astro Militarum unit within 9 inches of the Reductus Saboteur, +1 AP on their ranged weapons. So this little guy gets to sit in the back, 9 inches away from enemies, and then be a lone operative, so it's hard to kill. If you go near it, it's going to blow you up. and it just hands out an AP bonus to Astral Militarum units. Infantry or mounted specifically, not the bigger guys. And then we have another adaptive Redacted Saboteur with Adaptive Reprisal, which gives you heroic intervention on a GSC unit within 9 inches of the bearer once for free once per turn. It feels like a little bit of points filler, but I'm sure it might be useful on like Acolyte hybrids. We have a big Neophyte squad for the Benefictus to hang out with. We have an Acolyte hybrid squad with Hand Flamers. Be a little bit of a punchy guy. A couple of Achilles Ridge Runners. I don't believe, if I remember correctly, that the Achilles Ridge Runners buff the Militarum units. Because you are, despite the fact that they are in a Genestealer called army, they still are Astral Militarum army keyworded. And Crossfire requires that you are GSC. So I do not believe that you get the bonus. However, there is another bonus. Each time an Astral Militarum army from your army shoots, select an enemy unit within 18 inches invisible. That then gives your Genestealer cults +1 to hit against them. So I guess it's basically the similar combo that we saw to the Final Day list, where you took a bunch of Ridge Runners to give them +1 to hit. You could do the exact same thing with Astral Militarum units here. You just have to shoot them instead of being near them, which is, I guess, a little bit easier. Adel and Jackals for the early game, plus a Goliath Rock Grinder, which can carry around our Hand Flamer unit. And then we have a big brick of Attilan Rough Riders to stab people. Another unit of Rough Riders for utility. 2 Khazarkan squads, because they're good. Krieg Combat Engineers ×2. And then this is the pièce de résistance. 2 units of Krieg heavy weapon squads with heavy flamers. These are the 2 damage ones, by the way. They're like D6 +3, strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage. They're actually crazy strong. And they just don't really see that much play because there's like Astral Militarum doesn't use them very well. But I think the difference is in Genestealer cults. And then we have 3 Toroxes to carry around this stuff. So we have 3 scouting transports that can deliver dudes into the fight. Plus, your Achilles Ridge Runners also scout. So you can scout 6 vehicles, or vehicle squadrons, I guess, up the table. And then the Toroxes can spotter, because every time they shoot, they can pick something 18 inches away. Even if they don't shoot it, they can shoot something else. So the Toroxes can then just spotter for the Ridge Runners, and the Ridge Runners just blast away at that stuff. So that's pretty neat, chat. I like it. I don't know if there's any like cool stratagem combos. This is a detachment I've looked at, I think, exactly 1 time. You have a reactive move that responds to enemy reserves, which is actually sick. It's probably wildly underrated, especially because you can go into transports with it. That's really cool. There is a reroll wound strat. If you target a single enemy, you get reroll once to wound against it with 1 Astral Militarum and 1 Genestealer cult unit. Which is neat. There is you can uppy downy your Astral Militarum vehicle. Oh no, you can you can redeploy your cult damage markers. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? Nobody does that anymore anyway. And you can suppress enemies and stop them from overwatching, which is cool, I guess. So there's some stuff you can do, I suppose. Oh, and there's a reinforcement strat for Astral Militarum units, so you can bring your Khazarkan back. Neat. That's neat. Returning to 10th edition from 8th, can you still have guard plus GSC lists? Only in this detachment. So the way that they've worked in most armies, so armies do allies in different ways now, depending on which you're in, whether you are in, but depending on which army is allying and which army is the allier. But most armies, when they want to do allies, they have one specific detachment that contains their ally rules. So if you ever want to play guard plus Genestealer cults, the only way to do that is in Brood Brothers Exilia. It's the same for Chaos Demons and all the cult Chaos Space Marine armies. So like Thousand Suns can take demons in one detachment. Death Guard can take demons in one detachment. World Eaters do it in Core Demon King, which we talked about. There's like there's a Ynnari detachment that lets you take Drukhari units and Eldari together, although they have like a specific list of Drukhari units you can take, which are like the Eldar version of the data sheet. So they work with the army ability and stuff. So you have to play this specific detachment to answer the question. All right. Let us move on, chat. So the next one. That one took more to go through than I expected. Let's talk about... Let's do Emperor's Children real quick here. Real nice and quick. Let's talk about Gonzalo Raven, who, man after my own heart, registered Fulgrim. It's not my base it's big. It's that the rest is mediocre. Big base, small stats. That's what I'm always saying about Fulgrim. He's too big of a boy. We are playing Imperialist Bladesman today. So that's the detachment where you get... It's actually kind of a sick detachment. It gives you either sustained or lethal hits when you charge. Fulgrim's got sustained hits on all his attacks all the time, so he just gets to pick lethal, and he gets both, which is neat. We have a Lord Exultant with Blinding Speed, which is a once per game fight first. It's basically Speed of the Primarch from Liberator Assault Group. We have a Lord Exultant with Distortion, which gives you +1 attack and damage to all your melee weapons. It does not affect your Lash, because it has extra attacks, at least with the +1 attack bonus, but it does affect it with the Strength bonus, or the damage bonus. So he swings his Spear. He goes to 9 attacks at damage 3 with Lance, and then 4 attacks at damage 2 with the Lash. So he actually hits like a fucking truck. And he gives lethal hits as well, so he's also going to choose Sustain when he charges. So his entire unit is both lethal sustain. So this dude is actually super duper spooky once he gets into something. We have another Lord Exultant and Unleashes the Eternal. The other thing to think about, and this is like a gear check, because if you are enfranchised in playing in 40k and you play against a lot of Emperor's Children, the weird thing about Emperor's Children is that you are constantly considering them in the context of Coterie of the Conceited, which, if you don't play in, changes the entire game plan massively. Because Coterie of the Conceited puts a clock on the Emperor's Children player. It says, yo, if you don't do murder, you don't get a detachment ability, and in some cases, you might take damage on your opponent's turn or at the end of the round. So a coterie list is incentivized to play super aggro. You have to just run these Lord Exultants into the first thing you see so you can get kills and then fuel your coterie so that you can then, your pledge bonuses, so you can actually kill things in the late game. Peerless Bladesman gives you a lesser effect, but gives it to you permanently for the entire game, which means there is no requirement for this army to play as aggressively. You can just stage these dudes and wait for something scary to come in. And then Fulgrim rapid ingresses, and he blitzes it, and he blows something up, and then he dies, and he sort of starts the peace training game. We have Luscious the Eternal, a couple of Infractor units, 3 Infractor units to run around, plus a Tormentor squad for utility. Double Chaos Rounder to carry those guys around in. 6 Flawless Blades. Again, we're just vibing with these guys. They almost certainly pick sustained hits every time they attack. I believe that there are... there's a +1 AP strat. I guess that's the important strat. There's no like reroll hits, I don't think, which is probably, I think, a bit of a missed opportunity. If you have an army that gives you critical bonuses, I feel like a reroll hit strat would be good, but Coterie has that instead. We have a Mauler Fiend for the late game. Obviously, Mauler Fiend has good, like, sort of big, high impact attacks, so getting sustained hits on those is good. A couple Noise Marine squads for shooting as well. So like this army can instigate the fight early with the Noise Marines, or with Fulgrim, or it could just vibe. It could just wait for you to do something, because it probably out-threats most armies, because the entire army can advance and charge. Fulgrim's fast as hell. It's actually, because you don't see him very often, because everyone sort of like shits on him, you don't really conceptualize how fast he is. This fucker is moves 16 fly. So it just jumps over everything. Obviously, it has to go around terrain and stuff. but he can advance and charge because it's Emperor's Children. And then he swings with 6, like probably lethal hit, strength 6 attacks, and 6 sustained lethal strength 14 d6 plus 1 damage strike attacks. So he'll almost certainly kill something important, and then he'll almost certainly die because his defensive characteristics are trash. But in doing so, he forces you to commit, and then you get to fight that stuff with Lord Exalted and stuff. It's an interesting list, and it's playing Fulgrim, which is cool. We'll see how far it gets. I'm excited. It is spending 340 points of this fucker who's going to kill a 200-point thing and then explode. But maybe that's okay. He does hit like a truck in this attachment, though, which is sweet. He can go 4-inch terrain. Yeah, all the 4-inch terrain that you find. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, chat. I assume that they're going to use their normal dumb their normal terrain set, which if they do, that actually might be relevant. Because look at this piece of shit. I've now been reminded about Warhammer, about 40k. I believe these are less than 4 inches tall. This is one of their tables. Obviously, most of their tables don't use this terrain, and most of the tables are very tall. If I remember correctly, this, for example, in fairness, is the shittiest terrain format. This is the shittiest terrain set. Everything has a huge fucking rank, like a huge level on it, so you can't put things underneath it because it's like really short. And the whole thing is really short, so it basically doesn't true line of sight block. It's actually just terrible, but I think it might actually trigger Fulgrim's ability. Which, if true, is fucking nuts. They might actually rule around that, though, in fairness. I don't know if they will. But I am reminded that US Open specifically does have this fucking table, which I hate. I played one game on it at Nova, and I was like, this is a travesty. I do not like this. It does look cool. It is thematic as hell. It does look incredibly orky, but it is miserable to play on. As we've talked about many times, multi-level terrain. Oh my god, is it a nightmare? But I think it might be short enough. I don't know. I'm sure somebody can go measure it for me, but I think it might be short enough to trigger the serpentine movement thing. At least some of it, maybe. All right, let's move on and talk about a different faction. Let's talk about. What are we thinking next, champ? It's actually mostly orc lists. Let's talk about a fun orc list. Let's talk about our friend Will Paul's Drag Race over here, who's playing the Big Hunt at the World Championships of Warhammer. This is the Beast Snagga detachment for orcs. It gives you, you choose a monster vehicle or character unit for your opponent's army, and you basically oath of moment. You get reroll charges against it and +1 AP against it with your Beast Snagga units only. So you're incentivized to take mostly Beast Snaggas. You also have basically all your strats get better if you're attacking your prey target. You can give yourself, you can smoke bomb your guys, basically. You can up down your Beast Snagga guys, which is neat. There is a reactive move for your Beast Snagga infantry and mounted units. There is a critical 5-up effect. You get sustained hits 1, and critical 5-ups against your prey target, so you get a bunch of extra damage against them. You're also benefiting from that +1 AP, and you can reroll. You can advance and charge outside of Wog turn and get charge rerolls. If you charge your prey. So advance and charge on any Beast Snagga unit all the time for 1 CP, and then advance and charge the prey. Reroll charges on the prey. So you can be kind of fast as well. And it doesn't require that you end up on Wog turn with that. And that's any Beast Snagga unit, so it works on kill rigs and stuff too. We have Mozrog Scragbad, the Great Man himself, plus a Squigosaur Beast Boss with Shirley as a Squigoth, which gives him with Glory Hog, which gives him 9-inch scout. So you can leave the deployment zone with the big Squig Boy unit. And then we have another Beast Boss on Squigosaur with Swordly as a Squigoth, which is a transhuman effect. If the incoming attack is greater, strength is greater than your toughness, then you get -1 to be wounded. Double Gretchen for utility, Commandos for utility, triple Squighog Boys, triple Kill Rig. That's it. That's the whole list, chat. It's just a bunch of boys on squigs running up the table. Go get them. Woo! The Kill Rigs don't have anything to transport, I don't believe. Because they can only transport Beast Snagga Boys, so there's no infantry to go in there. But they do give an overlapping +1 strength buff. So the Squighog Boys swing 3 Squig attacks that are hitting on 4s, 8 strength 6 AP 1/2 damage, 3 stick plus 3 stick attacks that are strength 5 AP 1/2 damage lance. You can buff all of those with the Kill Rigs, so you can make these dudes strength 9 on the Squig and strength 8 lance on the spear with critical 5, sustained hits 1, +1 AP. So they go to AP 2, they're anti-monster, anti-vehicle 4, which honestly is probably mostly irrelevant if you're buffing your strength a bunch of times. You can also, I believe if the Kill Rigs, when they cast their spell, I believe there's a chance they give lethal hits as well. But I think you have to roll a 6 on the d6. Yes. Start of the fight phase, you choose an orc unit within 12. On a 2+, on a 1, you take D3 mortal wounds. On a 2+, you give them +1 strength. On a 6, you give them +1 strength and lethal, which also benefits from the critical 5-up strat. If you roll it. But we have 3 chances to roll it. The Kill Rigs also being Beast Snaggas. I believe that they benefit from the +1 AP. I'm going to double check. I'm going to fact check myself on this. Against their prey. Yeah, on their guns as well. They get reroll charges and +1 AP on all attacks, which means that the Kill Rigs firing their word towers give it strength 12 AP 4 D6 damage auto hits. And they have a stick of cannon. It's an anti-monster, anti-vehicle 2+ that goes to AP 3. But they have to hit with that one, which is, they won't. They'll miss. This is just fucking wild. Incredible. Absolutely incredible, chats. What a time. Incredible. We love to see it. I got one more. Oh, no, I don't have one more orc list. I said at the beginning, the orc community was insane, and they came out in droves for this one. We can talk about I think a list I've talked about one time on this channel, or a detachment I've talked about one time. I think literally ever. And that's Uni Havisto, who's running Cult of Speed, which is wild. So you can advance, fall back, shoot, and charge with all of your Speed Freaks units. You also get, I think all your stratagems are Speed Freak keyworded. Yeah, so you can't do anything with anything else. There's no other targeting. We are playing a War Boss, Boss Necrot, and Gaskell Thraka, a big boys unit, plus a battle wagon. I wonder if Gaskell has another unit to join. I think if your battle wagon is not kill cannoned, which it doesn't look like it is, it can carry Gaz and the Knob Squad, right? And then we can put the War Boss in the Boy Squad, and then you can switch them out. Oops. Yeah, it's 22 orcs. Gaz takes up 4 + 1, so 5. So you could put him and 10 knobs in. Which seems good. I don't know. That's probably fine. That's where your Wogter is going, I guess. And you could either start with him or start with the boys in the transport and then switch them for whichever one goes out. You could put the other one in, I guess. Seems okay. We got 3 Def Copta units, which have, I think, a bunch of super cool synergies with the detachment. If I remember correctly,
Johnny Muzz donated $2 through Super Chat. I'd love your opinion on my WCW
Johnny,
list.
your list is
Smiley
on my
face emoji.
your list is on my list. It's happening. We're gonna talk about it. I love that you're in chat, by the way, because we got to talk about exactly what your list does, because I'm not sure. There's some weird ass fucking Raven Guard players in here. So we can give the Dev Coptas sustained hits 1, targeting enemy within 9. Oh, excuse me. Sustained hits 1 if they target an enemy within 9. They get sustained hits 2 with a bunch of rocket attacks. There's another one that gives you there's a reactive move, and then there's another one that gives you lethal hits and 5 of criticals if you target an enemy within 9, which is they are mutually exclusive. But with rocket attacks that are either medium IP, high damage, or a bunch of blast attacks that are pretty high impact, getting either sustained or lethal on these things is crazy. Plus, they have a reactive move. Plus, they have a +1 to wound in the charge phase, and the Dev Coptas have 1,000,000 melee attacks. They are actually 6 strength 5 melee attacks each. So this unit's swinging 36 of them. If you WOG turn, they're swinging 42 with potentially +1 to wound, which is a lot. Double Gretchen for commandos, or double Gretchen for utility, commandos for utility. The knobs we talked about, Storm Boys for utility. Warbikers are a great disruption piece. They're OC2 and they advance in charge, so you can just fling them in and steal objectives with them. They're actually kind of, I think, like a little underplayed maybe, because you also get a power clot in them. They're 65 points. They're like not as easy to use as like Storm Boys or just shit out of a truck, but in Speed Freaks they're just almost strictly better. And then we have Custom Booster Blaster, which I don't know what that does. It suppresses enemies when you shoot them, so you can give them -1 to hit. I guess that's probably good. Yeah, it's easier to trigger than the Boom Deck Snazwagon. -1 to hit, because you don't have to be near them. You just shoot them with a gun, and you just have to roll a 4 or a 5 to hit. Or if you get close enough, they have a torrent. So just they have to shoot you with the rivet cannon. So they just have to roll a 5 to hit out of potentially 9 shots, which hopefully you'll do. If you miss, I don't know, sucks to suck. But hopefully they hit. It's unfortunate that the Custom Booster Blaster has nothing that represented boosting or blasting. It just shoots its gun. It should fly like it does in the game. No, the teleporting sniper one is the shock jump dragster. That's the teleporty guy. The Booster Blast is the guy with the big cannon. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. What a time! Insane. All right, I got one more orc list, and then I swear I'm done talking about orcs for all of time. I might need to take a quick break here. My feet are getting a little tired. But we'll talk about one more orc list until we're done here. Jan Ullmann is playing the Atlanta 2025 Killikans Apocalypse. The official name of the list, which is a Dread Mob. So this is the one. I think a lot of people talked about this one quite a bit when it dropped. And it's always kind of been on the fringes, but never really seen that much play. There's definitely some ways to play Dread Mob, which are kind of crazy. I don't know if this is one of them, but it certainly is classy. So we're playing 3 shock attack guns. The big thing here is that if you are a grot, a walker, a grot vehicle, I should say, so like a mech gun, a walker, or a mech, which includes the big mechs. When you attack, you can push a button, which gives you hazardous, and then you roll on a chart. You either get sustained hits 1, lethal hits, or an AP bonus when you crit. So, crit your wound roll. You can choose one of those effects to get if you... excuse me, it's the other way around. You can gain the effect by just hitting the button. Or you can select one to gain hazardous, and it has a special effect where if you have multiple instances of hazardous affecting a weapon, it will actually... it will stack. It gives you hazardous on a 1 or a 2 rather than just a 1. So instead of rolling a 2+ to pass the hazard check, you fail on our 1 or 2. So the shock attack on Big Macs enjoy units and then give them the ability to use that effect. Sometimes that's on tank bustas, and it looks like that's what we're doing. So they can give the tank bustas, for example, sustained hits. The tank bustas give them +1 to hit and wound against vehicles. And then with their powers combined, they kill the universe. Sorry, I just knocked my microphone stand. There's also a bunch of sick stratagems we can use on, especially the vehicles. The big ones are, I think, Daka, which gives you hit rerolls if you give yourself hazardous, or bigger shells for bigger gits, which gives you +1 to wound and +1 damage against monsters and vehicles if you choose to gain hazardous. And that one works on the tank busters. So they could go to damage 4 rocket launcher shots. It'd be +2 to wound, although that doesn't matter. The other thing, though, is that this list is taking 18 kilocans. Because the kilocans give you a 4+ ballistic skill rocket launcher that you can benefit with all these strats. So they can also hit the button. They can also do like +1 to wound and +1 damage. They can do a bunch of shit. The downside is that kilocans are all, like, largely in all other situations not very good. But yeah, there is a -1 damage strat for Grot vehicles. It gives you -1 to damage the kilocan unit. So you can make them a little tankier for a command point in shooting phase only. However, otherwise, they're like T5, 5 wounds. They're basically a really bad Terminator. They have like slightly more wounds, but they have a bad save. So if you have anti-heavy infantry tech, you actually just sweep them up really quickly. Thank goodness that Bring It Down doesn't work the way it used to, because it used to just give you a max Bring It Down after you killed like 1 kilocan unit. It was disgusting. But then we have some Def Coptas. They're also vehicles, so they can get a lot of those benefits. Although it affects walkers. I actually don't think anything works on them, but they're just good, I guess. It's like kind of tanky. So they actually have no synergy. They're just vibing. Now that I'm looking at it. Every vehicle strat is a walker vehicle, so they're just hanging out. Some flash kits, clear utility stuff, and then we're shooting really good. It's like a big gun line. It's just a big gun line. There a lot of times what you would see with this army, and I'm surprised we don't here, is you would see Zodgrod Wartsnaga, because there's a bonus for Gretchen. You make the Gretchen battle line, and I think give them I don't think you give them an OC bonus. I think they're already. I think they get +1 OC. Is that right? Because they're naturally OC1. Oh no, they're OC2. Just kidding. No, they just become battle line. But you play Zodgrod, and then you attach them into the unit. You scout, and then you wog turn 1 and just run them into your opponent's face to like buy yourself a turn, stop your opponent from getting on you. And then there's a reactive move for Gretchen units specifically that can also deal mortal wounds to people. And you would use that to like run away with Zodgrod's unit. You would skirmish with them a couple turns to try to keep the enemy off of the ranged attackers. We're not doing that today. We're gonna frontline with kilocans, I suppose, which is certainly a move. One of the moves of all time. But if you can shoot something and you can shoot it with all of your shock attack guns, it will just straight up die. So that's good, you know? Pretty exciting stuff. Too bad cans can take 2 guns. Yeah, they're locked into a kind of mediocre melee attack, which is unfortunate. Does push that button make the Stompa worth it? No, but it makes it really cool. We actually live streamed one a couple months ago. A Stompa in Dreadmob that killed itself with hazardous checks. It took something crazy. It was like 27 hazardous damage over the course of the game. Because every turn it would be like, bigger shells, push. Choose sustains, and then just vaporize its own health pool. It was awesome. It was really cool. It killed a lot of shit. But then it died, and that was sad. So yeah, I think Stompa's like fun. You can play the walkers, the knots, like a Gorkanaut or a Morkanaut. And then this detachment makes them okay. But otherwise, I think just like, if you want to take it seriously, like mech guns are okay. I don't think the kilocans are super worth it, in my opinion. But the tank buster units with the shock attack and big mess are crazy. You can play like the big Zodgrod unit to just like buy yourself a bunch of time, and then run like artillery pieces and stuff, and that's probably fine. More worth it for the yucks, yeah, for sure. I believe, chat. I'm gonna take a momentary break here because I have to go to the bathroom. So I will be back in like 5 minutes. And I'm gonna go ahead and leave you on a break screen for a moment. But once that's done, I'll be back and we can talk about the other crazy lists. Harlequins are still here, I swear, and 1 million in absolutely fucking nuts Space Marine lists. I don't know why Space Marines came out of the woodwork so hard, but I guess it's because they actually have optionality unlike every other faction in the game. So with that is what we're going to do in a moment. I'll be back in a sec here. So thanks everyone for your patience, and 1 sec. What's up, chat? We're back, boys and girls and people in between. Let's talk about some more lists. Let's keep going. I want to talk about Space Marines for a sec. We got some cool Space Marine lists to discuss. And Johnny Mars did super chat to talk about his list, and I already had it marked down. So let's do that, boys. Oh, chat. Oh, no. That's wrong. Oops. Wrong source. Yeah, are we are we in the time where we are finally marketing the top of our BCP for advertising? Let's talk about some Raven Guard Anvil Siege Force. I don't know what's going on here. Anvil Siege Force is the heavy weapon detachment. It gives your whole army heavy, and if you already have heavy, the remaining stationary gives you +1 to wound in addition, which is pretty cool. However, I don't know what this has to do with Raven Guard, so we'll see, I guess. We're rocking Eighth and Sean, same deal. Cave and Shrike, who's great. A Lieutenant with Architect of War, which is ignore cover, which is great. A phenomenal enhancement. I think one of the highlights of Anvil Siege Force. Plus a combo weapon Lieutenant. You also have you've not one backward step, and you have no threat too great. So not one backward step is when you engage, or when you're engaged. Oh no, when you're on an objective, you can double your OC characteristic, but you can't move. So lets you, if your opponent runs onto your objective and tries to take it with exactly the same OC, you can pay SCP to steal it back from them, with the downside that it limits your maneuverability. However, you can be judicious on who you use it on. It's just any infantry unit, so you can use it on a unit that you didn't necessarily need to move anyway to steal the objective back just by upping the OC by a little bit. You can also, you get a reactive shot for 2 CP, and then you get Rigid Discipline, which lets you fall back at the end of any fight phase. If you're within engagement range, you just have to end in your deployment zone or on an objective marker. But that lets you sort of sometimes fall back out of melee. You can also use it to embark transports as well. At the end of the turn, if you have fought someone, which is kind of neat. So there's some benefits of playing Anvil Siege Force. We have an Intercessor Squad to take the back line. They also do have heavy weapons, although they very rarely get to use them. We have a Drop Pod. Already with the Lieutenant, probably going to be spicy. An Impulsor, 3 JPI units, 2 Ballistic Dreadnoughts. If you do get to stay still with those guys, it's actually... Well, I guess they're hitting on 2s anyway. Or hitting on 3s anyway with rerolls. So it's actually not that big of a deal, I guess. Desolation Squad, the +1 to hit on the Desolators. I guess it could be useful. They also get ignore cover for remaining stationary. And their Castellan launchers, their indirect fire weapons are not naturally heavy. However, you don't need the +1 to hit because you already hit on 4s shooting indirectly anyway. So I don't know. I guess it gives your rocket launchers +1 to wound if you're remaining stationary. Hellblasters, it's kind of the same deal, probably coming out of the transport. Coming out of the drop pod, hopping in, ignore cover, lethal hits. You can target the ultimate moment target, and they'll probably blow you up. Incursor Squad for +1 to hit, so you can fish for lethals. There's also a sustained hits 1 strat that gives you... it is Battle Drill Recall. Gives you sustained hits 1 for a CP, and if you're main stationary, you get 5+ criticals. So if you tag something with the Incursors, boop, you can hit on 2s, and then full reroll to fish. I have a video recorded, and I'm halfway done editing it, talking about all the math behind fishing for critical sustains. But basically, the math is like a little sneak preview. If you're hitting on 2s, you should always fish if you have double criticals. If you have lethal sustain on 6s, you should 100% fish if you're already ballistic skill 2. So, you basically just get pure upside by targeting your at the moment target with that. And then the sustained hits are really high value because you're ignore cover with +1 to wound, so you win the entire game on 4s or better. So that combination is really good. We have a Scout Squad, Vindicator, Subductor Squad. Because Imperial Agent Jump Scare. Whoa, a Subductor Squad. I guess it's 100 points, and it's probably like more resilient than like the equivalent of 5 Space Marines, right? If you were to play like an infiltrator unit, it's bigger, so it has similar screening potential, and it's 4+ invulnerable save and 5 stun death, so they're way harder to kill than just like 5 dudes with 3+ armor. So I guess I buy it. Probably solid. Plus the shot pistol is really cool in Darktide, so you know that's good. So this feels like, to me, it is a lot of work to get a really good Hellblaster squad. And then there's some other units also. I guess we have OC2 Assault Intercessors. So those are good. In fairness, the lethal sustain like combo is still available to a lot of other detachments. Gladius Task Force can do it most notably because you can take the sustained hits thing on what is it? Fire discipline, yeah, on the lieutenant to give him sustained lethal, and then you just pay for ignore cover. So you get all the same effects, you just get them in a different way. So I guess I'm not 100% sure why this is a Gladius Task Force, but it's definitely not as spicy if it's Gladius Task Force versus this cool strat. You do have Cave-In, so you have an up-down unit naturally. You don't have a way to like advance and charge the jump back assault intercessor units, but you can give them bonus OC. So you can make them OC4 potentially. Maybe that's the idea. But it is unfortunately only your own command phase when you can do that. So you don't get to do it on your opponent's turn. But you could like live with one OC2 like JPI onto an objective and then steal it from 4 other guys, or like contest it from 4 other guys, I guess. I don't know. It's definitely pretty wild. Johnny Mars in chat though. What's up? If you crit 5 lethals, the fishing math changes. Oh, okay. I get it. So the JPI can charge and then fall back to steal objectives is the idea. So because they're OC2, they're better at doing that. And then you can use rigid discipline to fight, because it works in the other player's fight phase. You can do it on your own turn to unengage the enemy and then steal their objectives. Is that the combo? I guess like in the situation where they are very carefully trying to prevent you from doing that, you can just say, no, fuck you. I'm going to pay CP and do it anyway. Which I guess makes a ton of sense. So I like that. That's cool. That's very cool and fun. All right, I get it. If you crit on 5s, yeah, but you have to remain stationary crit on 5s. Are people unironically letting you remain stationary? Does that happen? I guess like you can shoot them back, but you have to pay so many CP for that. If you drop in and use Battle Drill Recall and then hold up 2 for Hail of Vengeance, you can't do any of the other cool stuff. But there is a reasonable chance that you can reactive shoot a bunch of times, I guess. And then if so your opponent doesn't want to attack them and they attack the Hellblasters, and so they're just like, oh, I'll attack something else, and then you get to stay still. Oh, the Desolators can do it. Okay. I'll buy that. That makes sense. Yeah, because that used to be the thing when you would give them fire discipline on the Desolator squads. And then you would like, because you could double strat with Gilliman really efficiently, you could give them Devastator Doctrine and +1 AP. But now you're just giving them sustained hit 1 critical 5s. So you have two things, right? It's a Desolation Squad that sustain hits 1, critical 5-ups, and just blasts away early game, like turn 1, ignore cover, +1 to wound, all the bonuses. And then turn 2 onwards, you drop in this drop pod, and if your opponent doesn't appropriately respond to it, you just kill them, right? If you drop the drop pod in the middle of their army, you give them 2 options. A, you trigger Hail of Vengeance, and it's painful as fuck. Or B, you let me remain stationary, and then the world is over. I'll kill everyone. I feel is that the deal? You're like 5-up, lethal, critical, sustain, full rerolls, +1 to wound, ignore cover. Yeah. Right. I also shoot back. That's why it's so painful, right? That they fire back. Yeah. Okay. I get it. I'm understanding the Anvil Siege Force. Somebody's gonna get caught by that, and they're gonna be like, "What the fuck is happening to me?" I think most people will just attack the Hellblasters, and then they'll go away, and then they'll be like, "I'll let you shoot my non-Oath of Momented guys a couple times." But we'll see. That's pretty cool. I like it. I like the technology, John. I think that's a cool list. That's cool and fun and very spicy, which is my favorite kind of list, and I think a lot of people are going to get caught by the combos. Not anymore, though. They'll watch this stream, and they'll be like, I understand. I know how to play against the meta strongman Anvil Siege Force Raven Guard. I know how to defeat the most powerful army in the metagame. Definitely, I think some people are going to get caught out by the Desolation Squads. Outside of Death Watch, which are playing more and more of the Fortis kill teams, Desolators are kind of dead right now. But it does seem cool that you could just give them a cute little critical hit bonus. You want to talk about let's talk about other meta Space Marine armies, chat. You ready? You're not ready. Nobody's prepared for this. I was going to say this is Raven Guard, but it's actually not. It's actually Raptors. It's Raptors. They're back. Zhong Muk Kong is playing a Vanguard Spearhead, a non-chapter aligned Vanguard Spearhead. He has to my knowledge anyway, no chapter specific units in this entire army because he's playing Raptors. So we have Captain and Phobos armor. Hashida just named it Laya Sisodon with Execute or Redeploy, which I think is the Shoot Scoot. From Vanguard Spearhead. Vanguard Spearhead. It's pretty wild to talk about Vanguard Spearhead in the age of the Shadowmark Talon. It's interesting to discuss a Vanguard Spearhead list. I just noticed how awful the white balancing on my camera is right now. I'm getting a new camera, I think, like next week probably. I'm done. I'm tired of this little guy. I'm gonna get a big fucking cool ass optical zoom camera to do like showcases on and stuff for this room. This is a tactical tangent, but we did really good last month. So I'm reinvesting a lot. I'm gonna buy some stuff to spruce up the backdrop here. I'm gonna buy some new equipment. It's gonna be great. And then obviously we did the amazing GoFundMe. That stuff should be coming in this week, but I have a bunch of stream upgrades and the new computers all picked out. And so I'm going to be building that this week to set it up for, or maybe next week, but to set it up for the standoff, which is at the end of the month, which will be good. But anyway, so yeah, it gives you a normal move of 6 inches after shooting. However, you cannot do it multiple times, so you can't put it on a Phobos Lieutenant and then do it a couple times. We have a Judiciary with Blade Driven Deep, so he gets the Infiltrate. A Phobos Librarian, which I imagine is an Infiltrator squad, plus a Combi Weapon Lieutenant with Shadow War Veteran, which is the CP Tax Aura in 12 inches, which is great. Double Intercessor squad, which, to be honest, I fucking love. I've been playing this in Imperial Fists, and I think Intercessors are like the most underplayed unit in the game. They're like, at any time that matters, they're 80 points, and they shoot 21 times with like reroll hits and +1 to wound. So if you have five infantry, they will almost certainly kill it. And they naturally assault. So the unit just runs around and clears your utility like for free, basically, and piles damage onto people. I think I just won a game over the weekend on stream. I think largely because an intercessor squad like finished a interceptor squad. It was crazy close. And because these guys just got to like advance a bunch of inches and then like plow 20 shots into them, they just killed a bunch of shit. Intercessor squads are like wildly underrated. It's crazy. I mean, they're still played one off in each game, in each list, but I honestly think Space Marine list could play two. And it's crazy that they're not. And plus, sometimes you just like get to obsec multiple objectives, and then the game is just you're having a good time. We have a Blade Guard veteran squad for the Judiciary to hop into. 2 Eliminator squads. We're running one with bolt snipers, which blows my mind. That's wild. Okay. And then one with all las fusils. Now, neither of these has an instigator bolt carbine. So I can we attach? Having never seen a Phobos captain on the table. I'm actually not sure what they do. Can they attach to eliminators? They sure fucking can. And I assume that the Phobos lieutenant. Oh no, we don't have a Phobos lieutenant. We have a Phobos librarian. So are we putting the Phobos librarian in with the eliminators? No way. Oh my god, I think we are. Oh no, there's an infiltrator squad. No, I bet he hangs out with the infiltrators. So one of them just vibes, I guess. And then we can keep the captain and the other one to make them shoot and scoot for free. We have an Incursor squad ×2 or ×3. Just kidding. ×2? Well, idiot. What a moron. Of course we would play 3 Incursor squads. Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't there be 3 Incursor squads in this army? An infiltrator squad. So you can attach the librarian to that. It gives you the big anti-deep strike aura. And then look at this chat. Invictor tactical warsuit spam. We're playing triple Invictors. Plus a Reaver squad, Stern Guard veteran squad. I don't think we have an attachment for those guys. No, we're just vibing. Just 5 dudes. Yeah, I guess probably not. Unless I doubt the Judiciary is going into them. Because he's so much better on the Blade Guard veterans. But they give him wound reroll, so maybe it's good. Yeah, so he could go in there, I guess. And the Blade Guard veterans are just hanging out. Tombstorm Speeder, Hammer Strikes as well to strip cover from people. So that lets you get some actual serious damage out of the Invictor warsuits. So like the Invictors scout up, and they can all, like assuming that they can all get line of sight to something, you can oath it, bounce cover off of it, and then they shoot 1,000,000. I believe that they're twin linked, or at least they used to be. They might just be 6 shots now. Yeah, they're 3 shots twin linked, so they would shoot 9 AP1 3 damage shots that are winning most vehicles on 4s or 3s. Twin linked, so they're full hit wound rerolling, plus ignore cover if you get the hammer strike in. So if you ever like push up into these things, they're all just gonna, with their powers combined, just blow you up from really far away. And they can do so while not taking up too many annoying places in your deployment zone, because you can scout into terrain from the beginning. They're not particularly fast, but if you scout them up into a terrain feature, you can poke around the terrain feature to shoot the autocannon. A lot of times you see them with Incendium just to play like a big beat stick unit on turn 1. They just go in and blow up a utility squad and then trade. But in this case, I think they're actually where our gun damage is coming from. Like we can ping something with Incursors because we have 3 units of them. And then we strip cover from with a hammer strike, and then every single unit shoots it and it dies. And then the rest of the list is just like an infinite number of utility units that all gets all the benefits from Vanguard Spearhead. So you can do things like reactive move in response to charges. You can do things like up down them. I guess the Eliminators could, for free strat, because we have a captain in them, strike from the shadows for +1 AP, +1 to hit. And then there is also a strat to obsec objectives. So we can obsec 1,000,000 objectives and then make them all, because we have infantry everywhere, and then make people take mortal wounds every time they take them. I cannot tell whether or not this unit's good, chat. This list is good. I think it's mostly a meme, but what an incredible meme. Someone unironically was like, let's do the actual Vanguard list from like Shadow Spear back in 8th edition, and let's make it work. And the way you make it work is you have Hammer Strike, or you have these Storm Speeders, which actually have real data sheets. And what was the moment to give +1 to wound? What did it say list? Absolutely crazy. First, also, kudos, hats off to Young Mech here Young Mach for running, for just committing to the bit. He's all in on the Phobos stuff, which is crazy. He understands what Vanguard's all about. I know that was the weird thing when Vanguard, and I don't know how they fuck it up every time, but they always are like, hey guys, check out Vanguard Spearhead. It's the Phobos detachment, and it's always like your infantry get a bunch of benefits, and you're like, guys, you realize that infantry includes Centurions and Aggressors, right? Because every time it's just a bunch of Aggressors and Centurions. And it happened in 9th edition, and it happened in 8th edition. Every single time they try to do this mechanic, it works on all your heavy infantry. This is what this list should look like, and it should give them huge bonuses, but they just don't do that. They keyword some of the stuff to Phobos, but then they don't give them enough bonuses. The problem is their output, right? Because in melee, you have 3 Incursor squads, you have Reaver squads, you have Invictor warsuits. All of this melee infantry is strength 4 AP 1, and the Invictors are like, they're like 5 attacks, flat 3 damage, right? If they had more melee bonuses available to Phobos Marines, I actually think this attachment might be good. And advance in charge for them too, which would be nice. But either way, I think that there's definitely things that could happen, right? Because like the list has a crazy number of scouting units. It's spreading infantry around the entire board. The infantry is kind of sticky to kill because a lot of times it's either like, I mean, it's all stealth and in cover because of the detachment, but then also sometimes there's feel no pain, sometimes there's lone ops, sometimes there's reactive moves. So it's hard to get to grips with. So your capacity to take objectives and score is really high. And then it can basically pick and choose and kill one thing a turn really consistently. And it has a pretty solid melee beat, like counterpunch with the Judiciar too. So if you can do things where like you like infiltrate the Judiciar up, infiltrate another unit up, they come in to charge it, you reactive move back, and they charge into an intervention, and then you fight first and kill them, right? So like there are plays you can set up that you can where you can like really punish people for playing poorly around you. Which I hope that it happens, which is sweet. Reavers will be good in 11th edition. Of course. It will, of course, happen. It will never not happen. Invictor Tactical Warsuit spam. That's incredible. All right. Should we talk about our main boys today? The ghosts of the Weebway. It has happened. Someone has unironically registered the Harlequins detachment in the World Championships of Warhammer. Actual Harlequins. I know somebody was asking earlier, they were like, this isn't just like Aspect Host, but he took a Solitaire. No, chat. Look at all these fucking troops. There's just so many troops. It is a real Harlequin list with real, honest to Kane Harlequins in it. Now I have to read what this attachment does because I don't think I've ever seen it played before because it's definitely not the greatest thing ever. So first of all, we got Eldrad. So we have a +1 wound effect, and we have CP regen, which is good. He can work on anything. Doesn't matter if you're a Harlequin. Command points are command points. We have a Solitaire. We have a Troop Master with Segarax Coil, which is Impact Mortals. You roll D6 for each model of the bearer's unit in engagement range of the enemy unit that you charge. On a 4+ they take a mortal wound up to 6, so it's exactly the jump pack Assault Intercessor's ability. He is probably leading a big 12-man, so he is probably going to roll a bunch of dice on that. We have another one with Mask of Secrets, which is that enemies that fall back from him get fucked up, and then just a naked Troop Master. Now, the Troop Masters themselves hit pretty hard. There's a combo that I thought would get played. I think it did for a little bit, and then Ynnari got nerfed and nobody played them anymore. But the Troop Master, like all the Harlequins, they basically all have devastating wounds all the time. And the Troop Master can swing in with 6 2-damage devastating attacks. So if you can ever get him wound rerolls, the unit goes crazy, and then he does give reroll ones to wound to the unit. But if you can give them full wound rerolls from a Falcon, for example, the unit can actually do some like sort of incredible damage. they do sort of a massive number of mortals. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 units of troops. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 units of troops total. 5 units of 5 plus a unit of 12. We then have 5 Star Weavers to carry around the little units. We have 10 Sky Weavers, and that's the whole list. That was it. Easy peasy. So what can we do with these guys? We can. Your characters can respawn. They can just Protocol of the Eternal Revenant back onto the table. After they were destroyed, you can pay a CP to put them back at the end of the phase with half your remaining wounds. Better. Half your remaining wounds there. We have a 4+ fight on death. We have fall back, shoot, and charge for a command point for any Harlequin unit. A reactive move of 6 inches. So we can hop out of the transport and then jump back in the transport from potentially 9 inches away because they can 6-inch move back to the transport and then hop back in. We have an up-down strat for the Harlequins that goes into strategic reserve. And then we have... they have a reactive charge end of the opponent's charge phase. So an infantry or mounted unit from your army 6 inches away from an enemy unit that would be eligible to declare a charge against the enemy units now declares a charge. So there's a bunch of weird shit you can do. So you could, for example, get reactive moved, move your unit away out of reasonable charge range of the first unit, but 6 inches away from, for example, a unit that can't charge that turn. And then at their charge phase, you just charge that other unit. After all their stuff's already declared charges. So if they fail the first charge, you just get to charge something else. You just get to go hang out. It's important to note, though, that you can't do most of that while you jump out of a Star Weaver if it's destroyed because you get battle shocked, so those strats don't work. You can re-embark Harlequins that are wholly within 6 inches of the Star Weavers at the end of the fight phase. So you will oftentimes be bouncing in and out of the fight phase potentially. But if there's ever a situation where you're not hopping in and out of the Star Weavers, you have a bunch of ways to play around anyway. The downside is that I think the Star Weavers you just have to bail out of. Like there's no other way to deliver the Harlequin troops. They're just move 8 guys basically. So you threat 11 plus your charge out of a Star Weaver, which isn't bad. Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. The other thing too is that the troops themselves have kind of a lot of cool guns. And Eldrad can maybe make them kill things in the shooting phase, or at least tune up damage in the shooting phase. He also works in melee, so he can give you +1 wounding and stuff. Oh, okay. The troops naturally have, with the troop masters in them, they have reroll 1 to hit and wound. And once you're wounding like infantry on 3s, reroll 1 to wound as well, plus devastating wounds, your damage into a lot of stuff is pretty high. I think this detachment will probably catch a lot of people off guard for sure. Played a similar list against Death Guard and bounced off everything. Yeah, I mean, I guess that that does track. Death Guard does seem like it would be tough for this one. You have agile maneuvers as well, so you can move 10 inches out of a transport. I forgot about that. Yeah, you do just have battle focus. You are still Eldar, so your models are actually really fast. So I guess you don't necessarily need any special delivery systems. They'll just deliver themselves. They don't. Do they deep strike? They do not. They just hang out. So if you use the up down, they have to come off the table edge. It's probably less good. They're probably not reserving any of them. Does the big brick fit in a transport? Not any of these transports, no. It fits in Wave Serpents, I think, if you take 11 plus the character, but it doesn't fit in Star Weavers. So those guys are on the board. They're ground pounding. But like with one big unit, like the thing too is that all these guys are really small, right? That's the thing about Harlequins that's pretty wild. Is the models are kind of like flamboyant. They're all doing stuff, but they're 25 mil models. So they like hiding one unit of guys on the table is not that difficult because it's only 12 25 mil base models. So it's like hiding a guardsman squad, basically, which most deployments can do pretty reasonably in your deployment zone in a relevant spot to go stage next turn. So like the big unit should be able to get around. Yeah, you could just kill them with Desolators. Also true. Also, there's Eldrad in this list with no attachment. Poor man is just going to eat up. You imagine this list gets paired against the fucking artillery list, dude. The artillery regiment. And those mortar teams are just like licking their chops. Let's go, boys. Unfortunate pairing could happen for sure. Yeah. That's they siege regiment chat. Also the Harlequin troops go in and they like one tap a unit of Kriegers and they're like, get wrecked, Kriegers, we've killed all of you with our 1,000,000 attacks. And the Kriegers are like, fight on death. It's just fucking shovel the whole Harlequin troops to death. It's like, hey man, you only have like fucking 6 wounds. I'm gonna kill you. That would be the most one-sided matchup of all time. Incredible. What a time to be alive. It's cool list though. There's like a bunch of weird shit you can do with the troops. The 1 CP charge at the end of your opponent's charge phase is kind of crazy. Especially in conjunction with the reactive move, and you're getting 3 CP a turn to spend on that. So I think Eldred's in here explicitly to combo all that shit together. So you can like you can do a bunch of weird reactive stuff into, you know, end of phase charges. And fall back and shoot and charge and stuff. Yeah. I imagine that's why that guy's hanging out in the list. The one Willem Dafoe meme where it's looking at the sky. That's the Harlequin player in this in that matchup. It's fucking Siege Regiment. If that's not the finals of World Championships of Warhammer, I will fucking riot. Oh my god. Incredible stuff. Yeah. I don't know. I hope that this list gets on a stream with player mics, not the G-Dub one, because I would love to see it in play. I think that there's so much weird potential for the Harlequin troop squads. It just has to be played incredibly well because their output's not great. It's good, but it's not great. It's a bunch of devastating attacks, but it's not like it's low strength characteristic, relatively low damage. But your maneuverability is really high. You don't have like advance and charge, but you're able to do weird like piling consolidation around, over and around people, which is big. So, anyway, chat. That's the thing. That's what's going on. The Damon Jenkins, by the way, is his name. Oh, Jenkins is rocking the Harlequins today or this weekend. All right, chat. From there, I have some other lists that I picked out that were kind of cool, but they aren't necessarily like sort of game changing. We can start to look at a couple of them. If anyone's interested in a particular faction, put it in the chats. You might be able to take a peek. I have a couple ones that I picked out, which are kind of sweet. Leroy Jenkins, indeed. The first one is gonna be, let's see. This was like right off the top of the list. It's Aaron Ryder, so he's like the first entry in the pairings or the roster on VCP. But he's running Champions of Vehemence, Black Templars. Almost every Black Templars player is running Gladius Task Force, obviously. But Champions of Vehemence is it's the detachment where like you, it's like a bunch of charge rerolls and it's good with jump pack units like randomly. So it gives you reroll advance and charge rolls. He's running a Crusade Ancient with Oathbound Exemplar. So this is the guy that dual attaches with the Execrators, which allows you to give +1/2 advance. What's up, Inky? Hi, baby girl. And you can advance and perform actions. Interestingly, it is Bear's unit, not well leading a unit, which I'm so glad they got rid of, by the way. The new Space Marine characters are really cool because they're good even when they're not a unit. And I hope that they do that on future characters. There she is. You gonna say hi to chat, kitty? What's up? I should put I should get like a cat tree and put next to me while I'm doing my stand-up streams. Hi, baby. Yeah. Are you mad that I stopped petting you? I'm sorry. We have double Execrator, excuse me, so they can advance and charge. One of them has Zealous Vanguard, so 6-inch scout on the whole unit. A Judiciary with Merciless Denunciation, which gives you reroll hit rolls, plus another Judiciary. So reroll advance and charge and potentially advance and charge bonuses makes these guys actually kind of a long threat range. We have double Impulsors. Blade Guard Veteran Squad, which is wild. That's for the Judiciaries to go into because they don't have a lot of attachments in the chapter-specific units. It's like the one instance where having Blade Guard Veterans is actually better than Sword Brethren because the faction has like basically, it's a weird situation because Games Workshop loves to push this unit as a Black Templars unit because they're like, guys, it's the Sword Space Marines and Black Templars are the Sword chapter. Except they have basically no internal synergy with Blade Guard Veterans. All their stuff is Sword Brethren keyworded, so it doesn't do anything. This detachment, I think, is different because it works on Judiciaries, and Judiciaries can join them. So it can actually give them a little bit of a bump. Boop. For example, you can give Judiciaries reroll 1s to wound against monsters or vehicles, which is cool. And then you can reroll ones to hit baseline from either from the strat or Blade Guard Veterans. We have a Reaver Squad. Cool. Reroll charges, I guess, is nice. Repulsor Executioners because they're great. Scout Squad. Sword Brethren Squad ×2. So that's where we're putting our Execrators and stuff. So we have are these 5s? These are 5s, right? Yeah. 5 and 5. Yep. So we have 2 7-man units that can go inside the Repulsor Executioners. They attach. Oh, excuse me. One of them, because we have Zealous Vanguard, is going to go inside the Impulsor because it's a dedicated transport. So he gives him Scout. So it's able to scout up the table, drop off an Execrator, Crusade Ancient, +5 Sword Brethren, and then they advance and charge into right in your face. So you can actually you could probably push that guy pretty far, especially if you have the thing Oathbound Exemplar for +1 to advance. So you are minimum moving 7 + 3d6 with rerolls, which means your average advance and charge roll is probably like 13. So you're with a 6-inch scout, you're most likely threatening your opponent's deployment zone on turn 1 with that combo. If you put this guy and this guy together in the same unit, it's really scary. Why do they go so fast? They're so fast. That's sick, actually. And then you can give them. They are chaplains because they have Execrators, so you can give them reroll once they hit and wound too. And then the other unit just rerolls hits for free. Hi, kitty. That list is cool. It's actually sick. I need a cat cam. I used to have a cat cam, but then the cats would never go to it. So I should reset. I should do it up again. I'll have more cameras soon. We can talk about any weird Votann? Yeah. Actually, Drew Saltsborn changed up his Votann play quite a bit here. little bit of a weird one. It's a Delve Assault Shift. There's no artillery. It's just all Chthonian Berserks. This list is playing 45 Chthonians shit. Basically, it's just going to play Hecaton land fortresses and use them to deliver Chthonians to put directly to your face. So it's running Delveworth Navigator on a Memnir Strategist. So he has the regenerate dudes back to the unit thing. And the cool thing about the Memnirs is if you have one for the backline to generate yourself yield points or change your yield point total, he can hold your backline objective. And then this guy can hang out inside a Hecaton land fortress, and then he can jump out because his enhancement triggers at the end of the movement phase. So he doesn't need to be on the table at all to use it. And then he hops out, and if he has line of sight to the target, you can burn the yield points to then regenerate Chthonians back in. So you can do weird shit where you rapid ingress the Chthonians, take casualties, move up a land fort, jump the Memnir out, regenerate those guys forward, and then move the unit up. Or move the unit up first, and then regenerate those guys in the front. We have 45 Chthonian Berserks, which get Deep Strike, obviously, because it's Delve Assault Shift. 1 Capricus Carrier with your Jaeger unit for utility, and then 3 Land Fortune. That's the whole list. It's simple. It's sweet. It's straightforward. We do 2 things. We move the land fort, we disembark the Chthonian Berserk, and then we charge. I don't know. That's it. That's all I know. We just disembark and charge. It seems fun. I don't know. It's very straightforward. And obviously Drew's fundamentals are fucking phenomenal. So we've streamed him a million times on the channel. And I mean, he's gonna do good things with it. So it's I'm kind of impressed. No think, just bonk. Yeah. Just like, for a list with 2 Memnir strategists in it, it's basically the smoothest brained list you could think up. You're like, I push the transport and then the guys get out. I don't know. Charge reels on demand from hostile acquisition too. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's good, right? And then you get the what if it's Cyber Stam Onslaught or whatever, where you go 1,000,000 inches, advance and charge with +2. So like their threat range out of a Hecaton land fortress is like phenomenal, right? It's like 11 inches plus a charge, so you're going like 20. Off of where the land fortress starts. And then, if you're doing that in a situation where you like just have 3 land fortresses in the middle with Chthonian Berserks, your opponent either deals with them, gets hit by the Berserks coming out, and you can also like disembark the destroyed Hecaton land fortress, lose 2 guys, and then Delveworth Navigator them back in the next turn, and just use the guys you lose from disembarkation mortals to just extend your own threat range. So you just get in harder. And if you don't deal with those, like they're going to hit you. If you deal with them, how do you also deal with a unit that's rapid ingressing at the same time? And then you're almost certainly getting hit by like 30 Chthonians all together all at once anyway. I don't know. It seems good. There is also I need Black Templars for not running Godhammer. It's a coward. There's some interesting Astra Militarum. There's a list that I was like looking at, and I was like, "Oh, this seems pretty normal." And then it kept saying Lehman Russ on it, which is kind of fun. David Purcell, who I think I've talked about before. I believe that he is 1 GTs. Is running Combined Arms, so it's like the normal detachment that does normal stuff. Cadian Command Squad, Rogadorn Commander, fair enough. Ursula Creed, and we get the Order Battery out. We got a Deathcore Krieg unit to respawn. We're taking a Hellhound, a Krieg Weapon Squad for Overwatch. Lehman Russ. And that's the list. It's just 6 fucking Lehman Russes. And then the cool thing, too, obviously, in your Combined Arms, you get lethal hits on the Lehman Russ. And the battle tanks get hit rerolls on stuff on objectives. So, seems good. I don't know. We can strip cover and +1 AP because we have Exterminator. And the Vanquishers is just cheap as fuck. So you can, like, lead the fight with the Vanquishers and then counterattack with the other ones. Because their output's a little bit more consistent. That's fun. It's just 7 tanks. And then some other stuff also there. So that's like kind of a cool list. Hotshot Looking for demons? Oh, I got some demons for you. Can you talk about demons? I do love talking about demons. There is a 6 demon list, which is right after my own heart. I might, by the way, chat, I'm thinking about it. There's a GT. it's next weekend, so it's World Champion weekend. But I'm like, I don't know. Am I gonna sit there and like fucking try to figure out a board state from the terrible GW stream? Or there's a GT like 90 minutes for me. I could just go play a GT for the first time I guess since Nova. I might unironically do that. And there was a 6 demon list that I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I do love 6 demons. Where did I lose my demons? Oh no, I found them. I have found them. Grant. Old Grant over here. Grant Nichols is running Plague Legion, which I think is really cool. Plague Legion, probably underplayed. We have a little bit, there's some Tallyband action going on too, which I think is also underplayed. It's just like less, I think that I wouldn't be surprised if it was more consistent than many of the other demon detachments, but it's not as fun or flexible. So nobody wants to play it. People play demons to put the things in reserve and then bring them out of reserve. We don't play demons to attrition people, which is all Plague Legion wants to do. Force Battleshock checks until they go away. But we are taking Be'lakor, so we have access to Lone Operative early, so we can stop enemies from, or force enemies at least to come forward in order to engage with the Grid and Clean ones. Or stop them from attacking early entirely, especially because this detachment does like playing Nurglings. So we could, one thing you can do is you can actually make it physically impossible for enemies to attack you top of 1 by simply screening the 18-inch bubble around your units with Nurglings, and then enemies, if they can't move into engagement range of the Nurglings, they can't shoot you. So they just have to deal with Nurglings for a turn, which you're like, that's fine. I don't really care about those guys anyway. And if you don't kill them, you can regenerate them. You can bring D3 models back to the units. It's 2 CP, it's a lot, but you could potentially get 12 wounds of Nurglings back to the unit if they don't die. We're running a Grid and Clean with Font of Spores, which is +1 AP to Nurgle demons within 6 inches, full stop. Each time all of their weapons get +1 AP, which includes their guns. So their flamers go to AP3. If we're talking about Soul Grinders, which you are not playing today, which is unfortunate, but Soul Grinders go to AP2 or more in range, which is cool. We have a Sloppity Bile Piper, who's cool. We love him. He forces Battle Shock in an aura, and then obviously you can stack that with all the additional Plague Legion sort of Battle Shock triggers. We have a Spoilpox Scrivener. I'm going to level chat. I don't know what that guy does. I play this faction. I don't even know what that guy does. Nurgle has too many random characters. He gives sustained hits 1 to a unit. Okay, cool. And then there's a 5-up critical strat, I believe, for Plague Bearers as well. Any demon, Nurgle, any Nurgle demon, you can get 5-up criticals for 1 CP. So you can make the Plague Bearers 5-up lethal sustain +1 AP as well. So they go to, when they lethal you at AP2, and they should lethal around 7 hits on average. And then they sustain those as well, and they're probably winning you on 5s because the Great Unclean one can reduce your toughness characteristic. So unless your toughness, as long as your toughness 8 or lower, he can drop you to winning them on 5s. So they probably hand you another 7 natural wounds. If they're buffed by Rodagus, those could be AP2 2 damage. So these guys hit as hard as like Blade Guard veterans. They're suddenly just killing tanks with their Plague Bearers. We have a Nurgling squad for early game. Blocking 3 beasts of Nurgle. A Plague Drone unit. The Plague Drones can shoot something and give you wound rerolls against it, so that makes the Nurgle stuff better. And then just last but not least, that fucking Tyrant. There's a bunch of demon lists playing Tyrants, by the way, and other factions as well. There's a couple of them running Tyrants in Demonic Incursion and Shadow Legion, which just gives you a good ranged platform. It doesn't get the benefits from Be'lakor, obviously. I think it would be incredibly broken if it got rerolls and or ignore Lone Operative from Be'lakor. Thank God. But what it does do is it Omni Scrambles your backline. So you can, for example, obsec the backline with Plague Bearers, run the Plague Bearers off and go do stuff with them, and then keep the Tyrant. He's going to sit towards the back and just basically arc his screen out on your deployment, on your your objective. So no one can get near the backline to actually take it, even if they up down. So you can just leave it alone entirely until you've killed all their up downs, and then it doesn't matter anymore. Plus, he shoots super duper hard. He's getting into sort of tanky stuff. And in addition to that, he has a bunch of kind of mid-strength weapons. So he's firing like Geist Strike Launcher is strength 12. The Decimator Plasma Cannon is strength 9. You can change the math on those quite a bit with the Great Unclean one, because he can drop your toughness characteristic, which very much like Death Guard it's irrelevant. It doesn't care what faction you're in. You just change the opponent's stats, which means a lot of times you can change him to wound things on 3s or 4s, where he would normally be wounding on 4s or 5s. And that can make that dude significantly more consistent. So that's a really spicy list. I like that one. Pretty cool stuff, chat. I'll talk about Tallyband for a moment here, folks. And then we'll start to think about wrapping up. I do have a game on Twitch, by the way. I believe that it is scheduled for 6. Oh, it's not on my calendar. What the fuck? What did I do wrong here? Maybe I just didn't put it on my calendar. It's going to be a fun one. It's Space Wolves versus White Scars. I'm going to double check my time for that, because I hope I didn't fuck up. Pretty sure it's 6 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Pretty sure we're playing at 6. I'll double check. Anyway, it should be about an hour or so after we finish this thing up over on the Twitchies. Should have put that in my calendar though. That was a mistake. But we have a little bit of Taliban action going on, which is cool. Stephen Walker over here, rocking Taliban Summoners. This detachment, I played against this detachment the other day. It's really cool. I think it's actually kind of underrated. So you get all the normal Death Guard stuff. In addition, you give your Nurgle Demons Nurgle's gift, so Contagions of Nurgle, if you're within 7 inches of them, and they give you extended range on your Contagion. So you can do 2 things with it. Either you can trail Nurgle Demons back to a Death Guard unit to extend your Contagion out to those guys, or you can have a Nurgle Demon sitting behind your Death Guard dudes to extend the aura of your Contagion. And it just makes it much more consistent that you get Contagion over the battle line. And what this army often wants to do is just stall the game out in the midboard. It plays like so quintessentially Death Guard, it's crazy. The play design team in 10th edition has been insane, because like this, unlike a lot, even more so than many of the other Death Guard detachments, this list just wants to like fucking slam into the middle and like take over all 3 objectives midboard and just grind the game until it wins, essentially. We got a Demon Prince of Nurgle with Beckoning Blight. The other cool thing is that it basically lets you play Demonic Incursion, but in a different faction, because all of the enhancements give you different parts of the Chaos Demons army abilities. So the Demon Prince of Nurgle has the Demonic Incursion detachment ability as an aura. So if you set up Nurgle Demons wholly within 12 inches of him, they can go 6 inches away from enemies rather than 9. So he's basically like a giant Shadow of Chaos aura if you are playing Demonic Incursion. There's a Lord of Contagion with Fell Harvester, which is +2 attacks. And then we're taking Rodriguez and a Grid and Clean one. We have double Plague Bearers, because they're great Deshrad Terminator unit to go with that big dude, whatever that guy is called, the Lord of Contagion, excuse me. The other cool thing you can do, and this list isn't doing it, I don't think, but you could do it in some lists, is you can put Beckoning Blight on the Lord of Contagion. So you can, if you run something out to Contagion something, you can 6-inch Deep Strike him, and then generate the aura to 6-inch Deep Strike all your Nurgle Demons. All at the same time. So you just alpha your opponent into oblivion. The problem that does is it compounds the problem that Death Guard, Deshrad Terminator builds sometimes have, where you're trying to make multiple 6-inch charges in a row, which sometimes doesn't go well. The only way that they made that work was to do it in the subterranean assault detachment and give an aura of reroll charges. But unfortunately, if you're trying to make like 4 6-inch charges in one turn, you usually fail 2 of them and you feel sad. Or maybe one, and you fail 1 if you have a reroll floating, most likely. But you don't know where that failure is going to be, so it could fuck you. We've got 2 Fated Bloat Drones, Plague Spitters, Fated Blight Hauler, plus a million Nurglings, a unit of 2 units of 3 and a unit of 6. There is a strat to regenerate the Nurglings once they're dead. Persistent Pests, which is a great name for a strat, regenerates the whole Nurgling squad once you kill them. So the 6-man screens the middle, runs in, your opponent kills it, like bottom 1, and you just regenerate it, and then deep strike it in the back of their deployment zone, fuck with their utility, or like score behind enemy lines for the rest of the game. It's very useful. And then double Poxwalkers as well. It's a little bit light on shooting, I think. It's basically just the Blight Haulers. This is the only like reasonable gun in the army. But it also has a strat to fire into your own melees. So you can, for example, you can like bust Great Unclean Ones through walls, then pin enemies with them. And if they don't fall back, then you can shoot your Blight launchers into your own engagement. So you can actually have like a trio of headed blow drone, Blight launcher blow drones that actually fire into melee with the Great Unclean Ones, which is cool. Are there any Gladius task force lists? Oh boy. Yes, like so many. A million of them. Any interesting GSE? We've talked about like 4 GSE lists. I'm sleepy of GSE. Is that true? We talked about 2 for sure. Any cool Grey Knights? Yeah, we can talk about Grey Knights for a sec. They've sort of flown under the radar. There's not a lot of Grey Knights players. I think they're struggling right now. But we did have Donovan Sayo running Banishers, which is cool. I think this is another one I was thinking about discussing when we were talking about like sort of new meta lists, because Banishers is another one that's like very slowly creeping into sort of Grey Knight's Grey Knight meta play, whereas a lot of times it was just Warpaint Task Force all the time previously. More and more people are playing Banishers. So this gives you it gives you Dark Packs on psychic weapons. Straight up just gives you Dark Packs in melee. Melee only, unfortunately. We're running double Brotherhood Librarians, Castellan Crow, Nemesis Dread Knight Grandmaster, no enhancements at all. A Strike Squad for the OPSEC on the backline. Double Rhino. There is a cool thing we can do, because this detachment does have a celerity, which is advanced in charge. So we can jump the Interceptors out of the Rhinos. They move 12, advance in charge. So they're going 15 from where the Rhino is, plus an advance, plus a charge. And then we can... What you want to do is like kind of play very aggressively with this build, because it has Mist of Deimos, or the new Mist of Deimos called Shadow of the Anarch. But you push this unit directly into your opponent's face. If they ever trigger your reactive move, you just drop them back into reserve and ingress them back in and do it again. So the Interceptor Squad, you're coming in with 30 psychic melee attacks. You're getting probably like either sustained or lethal on them most of the time. Problem is you don't know whether or not you're going to get that when you charge, which is unfortunate. So your damage output's a little inconsistent, but if you run these guys in, there's a chance at least once per game you'll trigger Shadow of the Anarch, get out of jail free, and then come back in and do it again in the future turn. The other thing too is that they can hop out of the Rhino, shoot, and then just jump back in the Rhino if they're just clearing infantry, and they shoot 40 times, so they'll do a little bit of damage. Johnny Mars, thank you for the super chat.
Donated $2 through Super Chat. Matt Rogers double whirlwinds list.
Matt Rogers, we can talk about that. Yeah. This Paladin squad, big Purifier squad for Crow. Paladins can hang out with the Librarian. So we actually have a utility Librarian, I guess, who's just vibing, because they're 80 points and they can deep strike, and then they can just they can up down and do things, and they shoot really good. And then there's only one Terminator squad for them to join. So you have the Paladin squad, you can do ingress plays with them and weird stuff with the 18-inch loan up that the Librarians give you. And then We have a million allied units. So a naval breacher team plus a rogue trader entourage, which is actually kind of insane. They at least give you access to cheap units. The rogue trader entourage gives you infiltrate, and you can redeploy Imperium battle line units. So you can redeploy the strike squads. Well, we have one strike squad. We're probably not redeploying them because they want to obsec. So I guess we can redeploy the breacher team, which is cool, I guess. But then also you can attach these guys and you just infiltrate the whole middle of the table. So if you win the deployment roll-off, you can infiltrate, like, what is this, like 14 models through the center and just prevent your opponent from being able to get in. And then I guess you redeploy them, right? So you can stop your opponent from ever taking the midboard. I guess it's 200 points for that is a lot, but they do. This unit does do kind of a lot of damage to like lighter infantry because it gets wound rerolls on objectives, and then you get all the shooting from the entourage too. Maybe it's fine. That's I guess the dangerous part for Grey Knights is if you are in a situation where your opponent can mess with your early game deep striking. And so if they just fill the board with utility units, this unit gives you an out for that, right? Because you can at any point just be like, no. I'm going to deploy this huge unit. It's going to stop you from getting to any of my objectives. And then I'm just going to pull them back into reserve before the first turn. It's a lot of points for that. But I guess if you don't have any other way to spend points, maybe we're fine. Yeah, so yeah, I guess it is D3 only, but there's only one other unit, and it's a strike squad, which is super not redeploying anywhere generally. So I don't know. It's a cool list though. Extremely fun and cool. Cool. Chant. Oh, it prevents call. Oh, that's a great call out. You're so right. It does stop the cull redraw because it's 14. That's so smart. Chat, you're totally correct. Yeah, that's an additional extra benefit. I love that. I actually love that. That's super cool. All right, one more. I got one more in me. Unless you have any special requests. I got one more. Let's talk about Giuseppe Pugliese, who's running an honest-to-God, straight-up, soul-forged war pack out of Chaos Space Marines. So this is the Demon Engine detachment. It gives you the enhanced critical hit effect.
Bucket of Steel Cable donated $6
we want to talk about Matt
and
Rogers'
99 cents through Super Chat. I'm not in WCW, but if I sent you my ASF Imperial Fists list, would you look at it? Need
yeah,
some
for sure.
advice as I'm new to Marines.
I don't know if I love Anvil Siege Force in general. Especially for Imperial Fist. Imperial Fist you have Emperor's Shield now, which is like unironically an incredible detachment. So I don't know why I would hamstring myself into playing Anvil Siege Force that much, but we did talk about how cool it was with Raven Guard, but I do think some of the stuff that we talked about there was contingent on OC2 JPI, and you don't get that in Imperial Fists. But Emperor's Shield is fucking awesome. It's super good. I have a bunch of games scheduled with them, and a bunch of games that are on my VOD channel, or are going up on my VOD channel shortly. If you want to see me just fucking revel in the glory of Emperor's Shield, I don't know, check that out. But yeah, shoot me the list, and I'll take a peek at it. After we talk about Matt Rogers' list, and also this one, Giuseppe Pugliese, is rocking Soulforge Warpack. He's got Abaddon, Vashtor the Archifane. So the thing we can do with this, we can get +1 to wound for if we exchange -1 on the leadership check for Dark Pact, and +2 to wound with guns and +2 attacks in melee. So just buff all the things. Vashtor also gives us our strength characteristic bonus. So he gives you +2 strength to all of your weapons on demon vehicles within 6 inches of him, and then he gains lone operative as well. So we have double cultist mobs for utility. Chaos Bikers for more utility. A chosen unit to hang out with Abaddon so he can advance in charge for late game stuff. And the rest of the list is just a bunch of fucking demon engines. We basically played, I think it's the max field allowance of non-Titanic demon engines in the faction. Is that right? It's triple Forge Fiend, triple Mauler Fiend, triple Venom Crawler. I think that's 100% of the demon engines we can play without delving into delving into super heavies like Lords of Skulls. I don't think there's any more. Oh, Helldrakes. We didn't have any Helldrakes. Or Defilers. Okay, just kidding. I'm super off. I forgot about the ones that no one ever plays. No, mea culpa. But so the Forge Fiends with Ectoplasma Cannons, they go to strength 12 with Vashtor. They get +1 to wound. So they start winning your vehicles on 2s. And they get hit rerolls from Abaddon. So you like hit reroll into sustained hits. You wound the whole game on 2s. You take 1,000,000 damage from your own hazardous checks. Who cares? We're here for a good time, not a long time. And we just kill the universe. If you're in line of sight. Mauler Fiends sort of do the same thing in melee. Venom Crawlers actually trade really well because once they get strength and wound bonuses on their little guns are actually kind of spooky. I think they shoot 12 times. Is that right? Because they have 2 6-shot guns that are like 8-1-2. 6-1-2. I think they were 8 last edition. But they go to strength 8 with Vashtor, and they can get +1 to wound. So you start winning vehicles on 4s with lethal or sustain. So like with just the detachment ability, you start eating so much damage on your own units, but your capacity to trade is great. On top of that, we also have there's a reactive move that lets you go closer to people, which is kind of fun. It's like a blood surge that happens in the movement phase almost, which in some cases can change things out, although it's not super useful. You can move vehicles through walls, including Vashtor. You can regenerate people after you kill them in melee. And you can get +1 AP for a command point when you do a Desperate Pact. So, I don't know. This is cool. I guess being able to move through walls is sweet, and you can play fun stuff with the Forge Fiends across map, on playing off the sides with strat reserves, and then anything you get line of sight to just fucking vaporizes, assuming that your full combo is active, right? Because you're 3d3 strength 12 +1 to wound, AP potentially AP4 3 damage shots with lethal or sustained. It's so much damage once all the stuff gets added together. So it's cool to see. Meta is trade vehicles now. I would not call this list meta. In fairness, chat, that's not true. I don't think I would call that particular list a meta 40k list. All right, yeah, let's talk about Matt Rogers' list because we got requested. Let me grab the link. I did not have it in my notes, so I have to go find it. I have it. I have it here. It's an Ultramarine Gladius task force with G-Man, Combi Weapon Lieutenant with Artificer Armor, triple Jump Pack Assault Intercessors, Infiltrator Squad, double Redemptor Dreadnought Scout Squad, double Vindicator Whirlwind. I guess I'm not beating the allegations that the metagame is all vehicles of this list. Jesus fucking Christ. So we have a lot of disruption on the JPI. We have the combo of these two guys where this guy's tough to kill because he's got the 2+ armor save, and then he gives Gilliman a 4 lone operative, excuse me. The big benefit is that Gilliman gives you the double oath. I think generally what this list wants to do, I think this is probably a lot of theory crafting from Iron Hands that's kind of made its way over, where people were immediately like, oh, let's play Iron Hands with a bunch of indirect fire. So we can do things like Oath of Moment to target, indirect it to death, and then retarget Oath with Canicvar into something else, and then direct fire that to death, right? But obviously, like, the difference is that Guilliman just fucking does that all the time, and he does it a better version because he doesn't need line of sight. So what we can do is, let's say your opponent expose a utility unit to score a point. You oath it, blast it, redirect the oath to a second target, and then shoot all of your whirlwinds into it to like fuck it up really bad. And you just get to do that every turn for free. You only have to realistically, like, you push forward Redemptor Dreadnoughts, which are fucking impossible to kill because they're armor contempted, -1 damage, just big tanky boys wandering around. And you get to play this like kind of pretty low key game plan until a time in which you can Devastator Doctrine and push your whole army in, and then just blow up the world basically. So you can like tank with these dudes, just, you know, kill whatever's in front of you, retarget your oath, kill whatever is behind the stuff that was in front of you. And then when the time comes, you can just advance and shoot, put 2 Vindicators, 2 Redemptor Dreadnoughts in front of your opponent. After you're like Assault Doctrine these guys in, and then late game you just Guilliman stabs people. Anything that comes in to try to kill the Vindicators most likely dies to Guilliman. So you get to play like a kind of the old Calgar game plan where you push something really aggressively to make your opponent respond to it to then like Guilliman fight without having to try to make long charges with him. So it seems really straightforward. I don't know. It's a Gladius Task Force list. Somebody else was asking for Gladius Task Force lists, so there you go. Any white scars? Not that I saw it yet. Did not see any white scars. The other thing too, just like per the discussion that's happening in chat about like what lists are meta right now, the thing to keep in mind too is that what we're looking at currently are the spiciest lists I could find, which generally means that there's like obviously a push for skews in this. Like our sample size here is basically entirely skew lists. And so you know, if we're seeing a trend, that's likely why. All right, well, let's talk about this Anvil Siege Force. I'm putting it in a paste just so we can discuss it. Thanks for sending it over. Oh, good. We got a huge ad. I love that for me. Bucket says, Lysander goes it alone if you need more action pieces or joins the Assault Terminators with Stoic Defender to make them budget Deathwing Knights. So Stoic Defender on an Ancient gives 6+ Feel No Pain, and you have OC instead of going to 0, so they stay at 1. We have an Apothecary Biolegist with Architect, so we get to ignore cover. Gravis Captain, Lysander, Combi Lieutenant, Torgaradon. Torgaradon and a Gravis Captain? That's a lot. A heavy Intercessor squad with 10 heavy Intercessors. Oh, I don't know about this one, chat. I don't we have a standard Intercessor squad for OBSEC, an Aggressor squad, Ballistus Dreadnought, Land Raider Crusader, so we can actually deliver the Baldreads, Redemptor Dread, Scout Squad, Terminator Assault Squad. I should just do these in a notepad. I don't know why I'm doing them in a paste bin. In hindsight, bad idea, because we get these fucking ads all the time. I stopped using Pastebin, the normal Pastebin, because you just, yeah, that was dumb. I feel stupid. Because it started trying to install software on my computer. I was like, all right, we're done with you. This is much better. I don't know why we didn't do this first. That was stupid. All right, much better. Look at that. Gorgeous. So, Torgaradon hangs out with... So, I don't know if I love the aggressors here. I keep hitting my microphone cord. I apologize, people. I think I'm going to get wireless microphones. So, or my wireless headset, so I don't have to do that. Torgaradon hangs out with the aggressors. he can dual attach with the Apothecary. So the aggressors go to AP1. Oh, no. He gives them ignore cover, right? Yeah. So we have 2 instances of ignore cover. So he's going to join one of the other units. I think, to be honest, there's no like inherent synergy here between the heavy intercessors and the detachment, besides the fact that their guns are heavy. So I actually think I would just cut the heavy intercessors. Like, you could play him with, I think he's actually great with eradicators because he already triggers stuff against vehicles. So when he gets rerolls, it goes crazy. So his gun goes to the strength doesn't, or I guess it matters against vehicles, but his gun goes to strength 7, EP 2, 4 damage, full hit and wound rerolls while he's in an eradicator squad, plus ignore cover. So, like, he meaningfully improves the output of eradicators, right? I don't hate the Apothecary Biologus because you can do the sustain strat, and then your ignore cover, AP1, full hit and wound rerolls. I'm a little like, I think the problem is that this, like, you're paying 500 points to deliver an aggressor squad, basically. The aggressors have their own inbuilt anti-synergy where they're incentivized to attack the closest thing, which makes their charge harder. And a lot of times your opponent's not going to give you a good opportunity to deliver the Crusader with the whole unit attached. I think I would probably cut the captain. So I think I would switch these guys to eradicators because I think that unit's just better. And then they can come off the table edge too, and they shoot a little bit better. It's, I don't know. You're doing more things with that unit rather than just shooting a bunch of random shots. I would probably cut the captain so the unit goes down to 14 and swap this for Redeemer, because the Redeemer is generally going to be more useful. The Crusaders' guns are like fine in very particular matchups, but a lot of times you're basically just paying the 220 for like a transport, in which case you're basically overpaying for the world's like most annoying Rhino. So I would try to cut the aggressor squad. If you're committed to the aggressor squad, which I personally don't think I super love, but that's just me. If you're committed to the aggressor squad, I would probably try to get it to 7 models so you can deliver it with a less expensive transport. Or a less, not expensive, the Redeemer is more expensive than the Crusader, but a less like 1-note transport, right? Because the Crusader is just going to shoot a bunch of times with like a shitty gun that's not really going to do anything, whereas a Redeemer is like actually a very terrifying piece. And then there's a Redemptor Dreadnought and Determinator Assault Squad. I guess I don't hate the Terminator Assault Squad, actually. You can do the funny, like, you could do, like, the move after fighting to, like, make them faster. They, like, ramp an ingress into a place. I think you would generally attach Lysander into them for the -1 to be wounded, because his leadership ability is amazing. It sucks that no threat too great only works in shooting. Oh, but you can do that on the Redeemer. It actually gets really scary with wound rerolls against vehicles. The Redeemer actually goes ham. Because that thing starts like cooking vehicles. It's expensive, but it starts cooking vehicles by itself. Yeah, I think that's what I would do. Apothecary is supposed to join the heavy intercessors because Tor gives the aggressors ignore cover anyway. Oh, we're putting Tor Garradon in? Well, then we don't even need the fucking Crusader. Who cares? Get rid of that thing. If we're already only putting 7 guys in there, then whatever. Like, I would almost rather put the captain in with the heavy intercessors though. Because the captain Yeah, no, that's what you're saying to do. Yeah. Like, I understand why we're playing the Heavy Intercessor Squad. I think that it's a lot of effort to make like a sort of a unit do mediocre things, right? So you're like, I can be lethal sustain, like hit and wound rerolls +1 to wound, and you're like, isn't that cool? And it is cool. I don't disagree. So that you're shooting like the unit's firing, it's like 6 3 damage shots, right? And then it's 8 or 16 2 damage shots. And if you like oath the target, you can be ignore cover. You can pay 1 CP because you can Rites of War the reroll strat, and then you can reroll wounds on them. But I think if you put, and then you could also critical 5-up critical them. But if you put that much work into anything, you're probably going to kill your target, right? And I don't know if heavy intercessors are exactly where you want to be, because the crack back is going to be disgusting. Like one exocrine is going to shoot, and the entire unit's going to die. It's going to be like horrible. Yeah, I do like the Lysander thing for sure. If the list is designed to shoot, wouldn't a Ballistus be better than the Redemptor? No, you want something that can like bully the midboard. You're already shooting pretty far anyway with the other stuff in the unit, in the army. And the other thing too is that there's like this inherent kind of like synergy between a big, there also is a Ballistus, to be fair. Which is good because like he shoots normally, he shoots naturally without needing to oath anything, which you probably need oath on the whatever the heavy intercessors would shoot. But then the Redemptor Dreadnought is really obnoxious to kill. Most armies don't like reliably kill him through Armor of Contempt in shooting if he's in cover. Because he's -1 damage and then +2 to save on a 2+ base save. So he's just like really annoying to kill. So you have to charge him, and then you walk into a rapid ingress. You teleport Homer, the assault squad in, and then they just fucking house your opponent. Like it's very it gets disgusting. So I think I think the Redemptor Dreadnought's fine here. Plus, there's a lot of times where he can stand still, get +1 to hit too. Because he's just like sitting on the middle objective and shooting. I don't know. I think the Redemptor Dreadnought's acceptable here. The one thing I don't super love is a heavy intercessor squad. I don't know if it's worth putting almost 400 points into this unit to do something that anything in the faction could do for cheaper. That's what I think. Like you could do Eradicators, and then you can do basically the same combo, but you don't need Oath and you don't need almost any of the strats. But you could still do the Architect of War, like lethal hit thing from the Apothecary. And you just you could just like cut the captain if you wanted to. Maybe even cut the transport too. Or I guess these guys aren't in the transport; they're just vibing. But like the Johnny's List with Hellblasters, you could do the same thing with Hellblasters. If you cut the Apothecary for a lieutenant, and then they can come out of Deep Strike, and they can do it anywhere, and it's only a 2-piece combo. I don't know. That's my 2 cents. But I suggest cutting the captain and 5 heavy intercessors. I think I would just cut the heavy intercessors entirely. You're also a little light on utility stuff in this version because we have all these characters. So like if you cut here and you cut here, that's 280. You get 100 points back if you take the what's the word? If you take Eradicators instead. And then we want to upgrade the Crusader to a Redeemer, which is like 40 points more. 50 points more. So we'd have 50 points left. Is there a downgrade we could make somewhere? To get another utility thing? It could be the Redemptor to a Ballistus. It gives us less frontline, but maybe that's fine. And then you get another Scout Squad. So you have just more up, down, and more objective holders. I'm a little worried about like no jump pack guys too, but there's only so much we can do here without like gutting the whole list, basically. That would be my thought. Yeah, so we'd cut the heavy intercessors, but replace them with something. So we would replace them with the Eradicator squad, and then you could run either Tor with the Eradicators, or I think I like the Biologus with the Aggressors, because the Aggressors shoot a million times, and so lethal hits on them is actually really valuable. So I think I like the I really like the Apothecary here instead of here. And then Tor can go with Eradicator squad, and he hits like a fucking truck with Eradicators. With his gun. His gun hits super hard. His gun's good for like a third of any vehicle in the game, basically. It's fucking crazy. Tor solo? Ramp it down? Like, I mean, I guess. He's only got 2 attacks though. He's not gonna he doesn't kill most things by himself. It's like 2 attacks, even if he's 2s into 2s, he probably drops 1 out of 4 dice rolls, and then you're doing 4 damage to something, which is like fine. But I don't know if I would take him by himself. It's 130 left if you get Eradicators and upgrade to a Redeemer. No, 6 Eradicators. I guess you could do 3. Yeah, you could probably do 3. That might be the downgrade, honestly. If you just take the 3 and then like Tor just pops out the side and is like, boo, 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 I killed a fucking Land Raider. Let's go. Yeah, maybe that's correct. And then you get plenty of points. Then we could take like even 2 utility units almost. Yeah, no, that seems like the play. I like that a lot. There you go. That's my... So, like, to edit this, I guess, a little bit, we cut these guys. We go 3 Eradicators for 90. And then we cut this guy. Sorry, buddy. You're cool. And we switch this for a Redeemer for 270. And then we go 2 scout squads for 140, and that leaves us with, what's the number? 60? Which is a Blade Guard Ancient, or I'm sure there's some bullshit in Imperial Agents we can get for 60. Obviously, you could do a stupid oh, you could get Artemis, right? Oh, he's 65. Fuck me. God damn it. It might be the Blade Guard Ancient. Oh, actually, no, it's the time, chat. We'll run a Phobos Lieutenant. Is he 65 too? Shit. Did I just fuck up? Or is he 60? I thought he was 60. He's 55. We've done it. Yes. Yes. Let's go. Yes. He's the greatest guy ever. He doesn't see any play, but he's fucking sick. There you go, chat. Invader ATV, get out of here, chat. We're playing Phobos Lieutenant now. No, you're probably right. I forgot about the Invader ATV. It's probably that. But he's so cool. Shit. The Tech Marine? I don't think you need a Tech Marine, really. I guess it's good on the Redemptor, but like he's like awkwardly situated because he always sits next to the vehicle, and then the vehicle dies, and you're like, all right, well, now he's doing nothing and is dead also, and gives up Assassinate. The number of Assassinates I've scored off of mid-board Tech Marine is quite a bit. It's probably an ATV. God damn it. Make me so mad. All right, I think that's the list. I think that I'm much more excited about that list. Tor was shoot and charge from medium vehicle. If you hit the 9er, I mean, sure. If we assume we hit the 9, We are that's probably we could do a lot with a lot, you know? Rapid Ingress, just pay the CP to Rapid Ingress. Dude, where are our command points coming from in this list? We cut the captain. We have no CP generation whatsoever. Just Rapid Ingress Torgaredon. Off the table edge with no deep strike. Okay. I don't know. I wouldn't do it. It's good on like layout 1. If you can wrap it in the corners with those little the little 4x6s. And then he just wanders in. But you have to assume your opponent has something within 5 inches of that he is like able to interact with. I don't know. I think you just pop the unit off and then you shoot something to death and then you call it good. If you do get toward melee though, he hits like a truck. He's super powerful. Don't get me wrong. I am cognizant of how strong that man is. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, chat. I think that's our WCW talk. I'm sure I will be back with some crazy fucking coverage from the finals. I guess somebody asked for predictions on who's going to win. I mean, Liam VSL's on a tear, but he switched to like regular Eldar. Like a normal ass fucking Eldar list. Which is shocking to me because like, I don't know. It feels like everyone's prepared for that, right? There's like all these random indirect fire lists that are going to blow it up. So we'll see. We'll see how he's doing. He's got a crazy fucking streak right now. That would certainly be one. I do think that there's probably a situation where like one of the AdMech greats gets out there. So like Richard Siegler maybe. Because I think AdMech's really underrated currently. And then in terms of like actual results, I think Tau, because it's CA 2025, right? I think like maybe Gliniseer is on a pretty good track. And then you can never count out John Lennon. I mean, he's like back-to-back fucking he made finals in two WCWs in a row. There's no way you can count him out. So like I think I would definitely consider John Lennon in the discussion. I would consider, I think, some of the really powerful Tau players like Gliniseer potentially. Because I think Tau's really good right now. I would consider some of these really good sort of AdMech players. And then I think obviously Liam BSL is killing it right now. Potentially best player in the world. But he's playing a normal fucking aspect host. I don't know. We'll see. I'm surprised. So John Lennon's actually running Emperor's Children, I just saw. Instead of Shadowmark Talon. I guess because he assumes people are just prepared for Shadowmark Talon now. But this does feel a little bit more defeatable than Shadowmark. Oh, thank you for the membership, Andrew Graves. Appreciate that, bud. Bummer that GW doesn't allow a ton of streamers. Yeah. I mean, obviously I've got opinions. I had a whole discussion with the event coordinator. I sent him an email and everything to try to get on coverage, but I never heard back. So I don't know. All right, chat. Well, I'm gonna pop off. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me, folks. Don't forget to go follow me on Twitch. I'll be live over there in an hour. I got to go double check my time because I read it on my personal calendar, but not my stream calendar, like a goober. So I'm going to go make sure all that information's correct. But that should be White Scars versus Space Wolves. So it's a Stormlight Task Force versus Spearpoint Task Force. Which is funny because it's the two Advance and Charge detachments fighting each other. So we're going to see who's better. I have more Repulsor Executioners, so I don't know. I feel like it's me. We'll see. Oh, how about Nemo? Oh, yeah. Nemo's also in contention for sure, actually. You're totally right. That was... You are so right that it might just be Nemo. I'm like, the man just fucking tears through like most metagames. In fact, I hope it's Nemo. I very much hope it's Nemo. Yeah, I looked at his list even. I was like, oh, Recon Element's back. We're going to watch that in some fucking high stakes games. Maybe that's, chat. Maybe that's why this is happening. Because that is a positive matchup for EC. Is John the biggest brain player ever? He's like, I probably can beat Eldar with this, right? Because you can 2-for-1 wing demon princes into most Eldar units. They can kill one on the impact and then just melee one to death. And then he's good into... It's good into everything but knights. The hope, I guess, is like knights get knocked out early by like just anti-stat check stuff. And then you play into... You get to kill like recon element. The recon element matchup's in fucking nuts, by the way. A Noise Marine squad on its shooting activation kills a full 20 brick. Once the coterie buffs are active, it is mathematically almost guaranteed to blitz the entire 20. It's crazy. I think the math changes if they have, depending on what order they have active. So if they don't have take cover active, it changes a lot. And obviously recon element has the please don't shoot me strat. The what's it called? Courageous diversion, where they get the feel no pain and -1 to be hit, and then they give -1 to hit to everything. So there's a chance the Noise Marines could flub it. However, if you have the Cacophonist in and they didn't stack defensive buffs, you just kill the entire squad instantly. It's like wild to watch. You're like, those aren't blast weapons. What could you possibly do? And then the Blast Masters shoot 12, pick up 14 guys, and you're like, what? And you're like, yeah, bruv, 5-up criticals, bro. And that army has so many units in it that you get to like peel out their characters and just start stacking pledge points really early as well. So that's a really interesting list. But obviously Recon Guard has a million anti-charge effects, so you can play around it, but it's only one unit at a time. We watched that matchup. We watched Nemo and Isaac Tirada, Commander Cha-Cha, play that matchup a couple of months ago, and it was really cool. I think it came down to like a 2-point game. And I think it was that like Isaac held a turn rather than pushing, and if he pushed, he would have won. It was crazy good. So I wonder if John's playing the long game here. He also, man loves charging, advancing and charging. Funny that anyone who copies him fails. Yeah, because everyone else is bad at 40k. I don't know. I think also that John and Nemo are in the same pod. Oh shit, are they? But the pods didn't get... Did the pods get released before list submission? Actually, I don't know how that worked. John 18-2 or 17-3 nights since last round of WCC? With Emperor's Children? Wow. And that was Index Nights, right? That was Feel No Pain Nights. Now they don't have Feel No Pains. But now they have Spearheaded Arms. Spearheaded Arms might be a fucking disaster. Because you just have 4 or 3 to 4 -1 damage armigers in the front of your army. And you're like, fucking everything wounds on 5s and does half as much damage? Cool, man. This is sick. I love just rolling 1,000,000 attacks to do 3 damage to an armiger. And then just getting picked up by a Crusader. This is fun. I'm having a great time right now. Pods came out 2 days ago. Listbuilding last week. Oh, that's exactly why he's on Emperor's Children chat. That's 100% why then. That's so funny. I did not know that. Thank you for the background. That's hilarious. Of 100%, that's why he's playing Emperor's Children then. If he knows he can... If it goes from like a 1 in 100 that he matches with Nemo to like a 1 in 6, you 100%. You prep that matchup every day of your life. For sure. Well, if he gets out of that, I think John Lennon is also looking pretty good then, for sure. Because I think Emperor's Children can play effectively into Eldar too. And Eldars are going to be a lot of the top players playing Eldar. I guess you'd have to like Tau might be tough, but maybe you can push it. If you play super aggro and you run up the score early. And they're not playing photon grenades. Oh, the pods were... Oh, the lists were first. Oh, okay then. Oh, I misunderstood what you were saying. Okay. All right. Just kidding. So he just sort of like, he like lucked into it maybe. I mean, I still think you probably prep for it because I think that I don't know. I think Recon Element's like, it's just like such a stat check. 90% of the field can't beat it. So You just hope that you can. If you feel like you can outscore or outplay a lot of the gun lines, and you plan for all like the super spicy finesse matchups, then it definitely feels like a good persistence to play. Your list wants to kill guard too. Are you that good at killing recon element with 5 Desolators? I don't know if you have enough attacks. Definitely, you have a lot of attacks. Do you have enough attacks? It's the question of the day. Because I don't know. I think people overestimate their output into that army. You're like, yeah, I killed a 20 brick. And you're like, well, there's 6 more of those, so have fun with that. Whoop. Just hit them on purge. Yeah, easy. Fucking easiest game of your life. In pod 6, both of them with 5 big knights. I mean, 5 big knights is whatever. Depends on what your army is, right? Basically, like every Marine army in the game, and like half of the other armies, like just windmill slam 5 big knights. Unless it's like the Lancer list that just like tries to stack check you on invuln saves, you're probably fine. Go second on supply drop. Are they running supply drop at Worlds? Please no. Please don't do that. I mean, they ran supply drop as the top cut for fucking Nova, so they probably are. I guess, is there a does Worlds have like a pairing list or a mission list out yet? I cannot see. Look at this, gents. Amazing. Look at all those details we get. No packet yet. Cool. We love to see it. I hope they just play layout 1 all day, and we don't get to watch like layout 4 on stream. I get enough complaints about layout 4 with people playing online, and I can't imagine people at fucking World Championships playing on layout 4 and just getting vaporized. Oh, Nick, you are running triple Lancers? Well, that Nemo game's going to suck. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, I think your matchup into John's like not that bad. You just have to not get outskilled, basically. Which is against like probably the best player in the world. Easy. That's super easy. Just don't let them play better than you. All right, champ. I have to get off because I have to yellow scrap my army. So I have to go. But thanks everyone for hanging with me for this stream game. So yeah. I will. Here's the stream game. Here's the stream link. Please go and give me a follow over there. I'm going to be live over there in like 30 minutes or so. Thanks for hanging out with me for this discussion. We were on for a long time. And it was a good one, I think. Lots of super spicy lists. I'm excited to watch them play. I hope that the finals ends up being Artillery Regiment versus Raptors. That's my prediction. They'll actually out meta the whole everyone. It'll be crazy. People will be like, that's insane. I did not expect 3 Invictor tactical warsuits to kill me every game. And I hope that's the final matchup because that'd be sick. Remember, the goal is to beat the Euros. You can't come over here. Warhammer's our game now. When's the White Scars game? 40 minutes. 40 minutes is happening. I'm playing Subodencon, chance. And Corsaro. Is that true? Actually, I think I might have cut Corsaro Con. I can't remember what's in my list. I made my list on Saturday morning. You know, it's a drunken stupor after Halloween. So, my list has, if it goes well, I'll make a Patreon video about it. I'll talk about all the tech. I did cut. Oh no, I took all the cons. I got double cons. I'm all conned up. I'm ready to go. Also, I have double Executioner Redeemer. This list is fucking nuts. Wait, who made this? Did I make this list? Why did I make this list? Oh, I know. I have tech. I got tech in this list. It's cool as fuck. I love it. All right, yeah. Everybody who's going to Worlds, have a safe trip over there. I'm excited to see you guys on stream. Keep it classy, and I will see you on Twitch in about 30 minutes now. So cheers, everyone. Goodbye. Also, don't forget to check out Captain Con, of course, the sponsor of the stream. See ya.